Lay your head, let the ceiling spin. You don't have to begin again. I've been here where the air goes thin. Saw what happens when you try to win. Better stay where the walls don't move. Nothing left that you have to prove. I don't push, I pull you close till you forget what you wanted most. It's just the way of the world. Down in the dirt where the flowers bloom. It's just the way of the world. You'll feel the power of an empty room. It's just the way of the world. Just wait a moment and we'll start again. You are the enemy of my friend, my friend, my friend, my friend. Take my hand, feel the current slow. I can show you what I
Check.
know. Every spark only burns you
out.
Every dream just a longer drought. I don't lie, I just dim the flame. Give your hunger another name. Call it calm, call it letting go. Call it all that you'll never know. If you don't rise, you don't fall apart. That's the safest way to break up. It's just the way of the world. Down in the dirt where the flowers bloom. It's just the way of the world. You'll feel the power of an empty room. It's just the way of the world. Just wait a moment and we'll start again. You are the enemy of my friend, my friend, my friend, my friend. Stay down, stay near. I need you right here. Stay down.
Oh, yeah.
Stay small, I'm nothing. It's just the way of the world. That's what I say when you start to move. It's just the way of the world.
What's up, everybody?
You with something to
Hi. Sorry. Sometimes you just start dancing to your own music, and it's and then you're like, oh, I got a show to do. It's funny. That is I think personally that's the most danceable track of the new tunes. Yeah. I just find myself, and it's yes, indeed, it is I will completely admit a Stone Temple Pilots inspired riff that I've had in my pocket for a long time. And so what? It works. And it's not, everything else is original. So I'm not worried. It's inspired. I would actually say, for those that don't know, here STP, great band, great guys, the brothers, some of the loveliest fellows in rock. But I'm convinced that their entire musical temperament, their style, was born out of a I think it's what's the song? It's a Motley Crue song off of Too Fast for Love. I always blitz on the name. Let's see. Let's see where the track is. Stay again. I think it might be Too Fast for Love. That one. Yeah, that's Too Fast for Love. The title track, that's exactly where That riff, that bow down 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 bow, that's totally Stone Temple Pilots to me. That's like if you wrap up their kind of groove, it's all in that lick. To say nothing, by the way, about their own talent and creativity and all that kind of stuff. But we all have our influences and we all have our inspirations in a lot of different areas. Like, for example, this morning, I was very inspired by JoJo from Jersey when she came on the show and was lovely. And the same is true when Boston Brian filled in for Johnny Million on Saturday on the radio show. Those kind of things, they inspire me. I'm impressed by Phil Bittner's continued, just a steel spine in dealing with the Ukraine war, being there, for the long haul in it, and it's an impressive feat for a human being. So, and again, inspired by you guys. So hi there. All right. Now, hit the like, share the show, subscribe. Whoops, there it goes. Hey, yeah, it works. Why is that so far up? That should. I have to I got to catch it to make it work right. There we go. Is that it? Put it over here. See if it's in a better spot. Can make it. Oh, it went all the way over here. That's not good. There you go. Try that again. All I'm doing is reminding you again. So, yeah, that's better. Okay. Now it's on the vert. If you're on Instagram, you probably subscribed on there. You probably watch YouTube sometimes. You probably have an account or some nonsense. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're on Facebook and YouTube and all that kind of stuff, subscribe to each of the versions. I'm not going to knock you around with notifications. You'll get there. I'm not going to bug you. I don't mean to bug you. So, yes, Phil shows are indeed very informative. Super Chat's a great way to support the show. Also, patreon.com/HalSparks. What else? The Venmo isn't up right now. I'm sorry about that. I will put that up in a moment. Where did you go, Venmo? You went away. I need a little. There you are. Oh, come back. That's better. If you use your phone, take a picture of that and buy me a cup of coffee, something like that. Support the show, whatever. Okay, now let's get started. I hate that stuff. Okay. Let's just jump straight into Donald Trump swept his entire schedule earlier today, closed to all press. And then it got like Midas Touch and MS Now and and even like Fox was kind of upset about it at one point, that they were like, why is the signing closed to press as well? That's weird. And he was, completely, instead of just like rescheduling the EO signing to another day, they were like, oh shit, let's pretend we're doing it. So they just took one of the ones he's got. How do I like Mike Tramp? Mike Tramp from White Lion? Of course I do. Anybody who writes When the Children Cry and Little Fighter is okay by me. But, that's, don't get me started on the emotional impact of the Pride album during my first year out here in Los Angeles when I was dating a girl who went to the all-girls school out at Scribs, and I would listen to that album back and forth so much that it melted in my cassette player. White Lion, who are they? All right. But, beg your pardon. This is, they decided to dust this fucker off, and it's not good. It's very not good. It's, he's not surrounded by, an army of like rounding up some sycophantic assholes to stand behind him and listen to him fart. I don't even know if they do the actual reading of what he's signing like they normally do. I'll show you what I mean. It's gnarly. Hit the like, share the show. It's Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Be forewarned and forearmed. Nut warning. Just straight out of the gate. Just have to legally. I have to. All right. So here he is behind this desk. And this is a mess. You'll see. Also, it's 14 minutes. Like they had an hour allotted for this on his schedule. It's 14 minutes with 2 strategic questions from, I think, Steve Doocy and somebody else. And then they just move off. Look at this. 14 minutes and 4 seconds. Whoever's in charge of Greg Kelly's clips must now be in charge of Donald Trump's schedule. Oh, and by the way, yeah, there you go. So, hello.
You guys all ready? Let's go get him.
You guys all ready? Let's go get him. Yeah, the energy, it's just busting out. I don't know why he's not just out shooting hoops and watching the FIFA game on the National Mall with just visiting every state twice, eating a hibachi hot dog.
Well, thank you very much. We have a big ruling that
We have a big grueling.
we're just. Well, thank you very much. We have a big ruling that we're
A big grueling. Big ruling, you could separate those words or just roll them straight through and say big grueling.
just issuing now. It's I think it's very important. Going to lower the price of your car. It's going to lower the price of fixing your car. Has to do with affordability.
Look at this dude, by the way. This is also not the guy who normally reads the bills out either. I don't know where he is. Is he on a break or is he getting a hibachi hot dog or some shit? But this is just filler nonsense. They're just dusting this off. He's signing an executive order on the right to fix your own car, like the right to fix your own phone thing, which again is regulatory. Anyways, you can fix your car. It just voids the warranty. I don't know what. All right.
It has to do with a lot of things. You know, oil prices are way down. We hit $69 today. It was higher than
No, we didn't.
that prior to the denuclearization of Iran.
Which isn't a denuclearization. And also that happened last year and also apparently didn't happen.
A fight that we have, which we're doing very well. There'll be a meeting on that tomorrow in Doha.
In Doha. Is that anywhere near Yeehaw? They're right next to each other, right? Often you have to drive through Yeehaw to go to Doha. Or is that do what? I've been to do what? It's Doha. Doha, maybe. Sure. Doha. I mean, it's spelled Doha. Sure. You think that's where he's going? Doha. Do what now? Do what? Do where?
Higher than that prior to the denuclearization of Iran. A fight that we have, which we're doing very well. There'll be a meeting on that tomorrow in Doha.
Sorry. Doha. Do what? They gonna meet down there and do what?
And they're going to Qatar. I think they've already left.
Right, they're on their way through Duwadiddy to passing Duhast. Hopefully they'll get to check out a Rammstein show on the way.
Getting ready to leave. So
They're just about getting ready to leave. Fuck does that mean? They're either getting ready to leave or they're not. What do you mean just about getting ready? I mean, do you not feel ready? What does this entail? Have they not packed?
we're doing very well on that front. But the meeting in Doha is going
Oh, or Doha. Good. Okay, corrected himself. Doha and Doha. Whichever. It's like Nevada.
to be perhaps important, perhaps not. We're going to find out.
They all over, the MAGA sphere on Shitter especially. They're all talking about how they called and begged for a meeting. Donald Trump, what a boss. If you want to see something, let me show you something hilarious real quick. Let's see. I bring this up. Hold on. I gotta open this. Let's see. You want to have an interesting experience and see just the level of horse shit that's going on in the middle of all these. Go on Shitter if you still have an account there, which I don't, but you can still search. And search holy crap. Just do a search of holy crap. And what you will see is all these accounts, the ones, the propaganda accounts, apparently this is a signal that they all send to each other. Holy crap. Holy crap. I didn't realize the DSA was obese. Holy crap. Eric Doherty. Eric Doherty uses holy crap all the time. Cat Turd. Holy crap. Juanita Broderick. Holy crap. libs of TikTok. Holy crap. John F. Kennedy Jr. QAnon account. Holy crap. Project Constitution. Holy crap. Like every rando fucking account. You'll see some holy shits. Sorry, piece of crap. You hate this country, blah, blah, blah. Holy crap. Trump just dropped a nuke on the entire Federal Reserve. Holy crap. Like on and on and on and on. Holy crap. Daughtry says this one. Eric Daughtry says this one all the time. And a lot of it is just the most flaccid dipshittery. It's meaningless. It never goes anywhere. There's the woman who crashed the plane into the tower in Beijing. That's big news over there right now. They're trying to figure that out. I think they identified the pilot, but it was apparently a big political act, but they're pretending it was just a rando accident. Let's see. Here we go. Boy, holy nuts. Lives with TikTok. Holy crap. Yeah, they're freaking out about Supergirl. Holy crap. It's President Trump going off on John Thune behind closed doors. Who gives a shit if he's kissing his ass out in front of everybody? Here's clients. Holy crap, let's fucking go. Shout out to Benny Johnson for covering these trans Tifa terrorists attacking us with a bat on Saturday. Holy smoke. Holy crap, elite man. Okay, so anyways, you get the point. They stack these libs of TikTok all the time. Holy crap, over and over and over again. This is their kind of lead in for these things. So the same thing goes with this kind of these key phrases that they're getting marching orders from the White House to carry this water. So anyways, back to what we were watching. Yeah.
Militarily, it's almost won militarily, I would say.
Almost won militarily, and we already won in the first hour and the first week, and we could go home at any time we want, but it's basically won. They don't have any Navy except the one that's been bombing the boats. They don't have any Air Force except the airplanes that are parked in Pakistan. They don't have any radar except for the other radar that we bombed. They don't have any missiles or any missile or drone production except we bombed some more missile and drone production this weekend, so I don't know what the hell we were hitting.
And it's really very simple. It's the denuclearization of Iran. We don't want them to have a nuclear weapon, and they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. They've agreed to that in all fairness.
No, they have not.
This is something that's very exciting to me. And if you bring the bill, and I'm going to...
Yeah. Tell us why it's very exciting to you. Tell us what it is and how exciting it is.
Let Lee explain exactly what it means, but it means a lot to people that own vehicles.
Just in general, people that own vehicles, all the way up, from Mack trucks to Matchbox cars.
In particular, but cars and anything else.
Cars and anything else, any other kind of vehicle, Amish wagon, the pull start scooter that Jim Carrey used in Dumb and Dumber, the hoverboard from Back to the Future 2. Don't get me started.
It's going to save them a lot of money, and they're going to be able to do it themselves. Please.
Mr. President, this is a presidential memo to the Environmental Protection Agency, a presidential memo supporting the freedom to fix. Americans have the freedom to fix their vehicle. President Trump insists upon it. We are not going to be going after people who are fixing their own vehicle like...
Oh, my God. Finally. Thank God this is what we were all concerned about. Food costs, blah, blah, blah. The cost of driving the car at all. That's what we're worried about is some asshole, I don't know, swapping his muffler for one he stole off another car. We'll all sleep better tonight. I have no doubt.
Administrations have. Additionally, we've been concerned, President Trump has been concerned about aftermarket parts, cheap knockoff aftermarket parts coming into the United States, harming small businesses.
Which, by the way, only people who fix their own cars add to... What are you talking about? Oh. Yeah, because you go to a Toyota dealership, that's what they're using? Huh? Yeah. You pumpkin pie haircutted freak. What do you, if you want people to be able to fix their cars and not use knockoff cheaper parts, what's the point?
Americans. This presidential memo puts an end to it. Also, the only third-party certification for these aftermarket parts, it's CARB in California, a process that's backlogged and faulty. So we're going to break that monopoly.
Oh my God. So we're going to not allow those things instead of allowing the one body that exists in the country that will clear the ones that work. We're just going to bypass that in theory, which you can't do.
Will CARB be the only third-party certifier for these aftermarket parts?
Yeah, there just won't be one at all. Let's just get rid of it right now. And we'll have one in 2 weeks.
Again, President Trump is insisting on fixing it. This presidential memo does that. President Trump was calling me up on a Saturday night when this idea first came to his head, and he says he wants to do a press conference right away to get this.
Bullshit. Get out of town. He was not in the middle of all this stuff calling you on Saturday that we want to have a press conference right away. They didn't have one scheduled. They caught shit about this and decided, let's just dust off some rando, Project 2025 EO that Trump doesn't give a shit about, make up some kind of story so we can have a proof of life video. Good Lord. Oh, boy.
In February 2nd, we signed a right to repair for our farmers so that they can repair their tractors and their non-road equipment, and this is covering everyone else.
I mean, think about it. It came.
Oh my God! Here comes I want to hear the technical. I mean, yeah, the PR blitz that was just done by is that Selden, like the FDA guy? That put that aside. I want to hear Trump explain the technicalities of this, why it mattered to him.
And this is covering everyone else.
I mean, think about it. It came to my attention because I noticed they were arresting people for fixing their car.
Who? Who's they? What are you talking about? Who's getting arrested for fixing their car? Yeah, who's doing it and where? And what are you talking about? No, this is fucking not happening. People are not getting arrested for fixing their car. Asshole. It's just not happening. I don't know what. All right. And it was crucial. We had to handle it immediately. Otherwise, these people, what are you talking about? You know who I think it is? I think I know who he's talking about. People getting arrested for Marvin Heemeyer, for example. That's the guy who he's worried about. Trump's a big fan of Marvin Heemeyer. Who is Marvin Heemeyer, you might ask? Marvin Heemeyer is the guy who created, see if I can get a picture of it for you, the Killdozer. Remember this guy? The guy who reinforced his bulldozer with a bunch of steel paneling and then flattened this town because he was mad over zoning or some shit. Yeah. So this is the Martin Heemeyer Act, the Martin Heemeyer executive order.
It came to my attention.
What a dipshit.
Because I noticed they were arresting people for fixing their car. They were arresting people.
No, they were not. Where have you seen this? What are you talking about? Were you watching Death Race 3000 or whatever? Were you watching Cannonball Run again?
For fixing it. That's not even believable.
You're right. It's not even believable.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's yeah. Citation needed.
So it's right to fix, and I think it's really common sense. If somebody wants to fix.
Oh my God! Hold on one second. I this weird audio aspect of things. Bang, bang, bang. I have to go to this, and then go to here, and then switch this around, and then if I switch to something, let's go to this, and then see if I can hear it. Let's see.
Mechanics and the mechanics in the shop. They're telling the mechanic in the shop how to fix their car or their truck. We signed the truck one a little while ago. So
We signed the truck one a little while ago.
Are better mechanics than the mechanics in the shop.
Okay, hold on. Let me back this up because I didn't get to hear the top of this because my audio was being weird.
So it's right to fix.
It's like right to try for your car. Is your car terminally ill? Then you should be able to experiment on it with any oil.
And I think
Put kerosene in it. Put sugar in the tank. Bypass gasoline entirely and just pour oil straight in the gas tank.
it's really common sense. If somebody wants to fix, some of these people are better mechanics than the mechanics in the shop. They're telling the mechanic in the shop how to fix their car or their truck.
No, they're not.
We signed the truck one a little while ago. So I'm going to sign this and I'll be
Oh yeah. The truck one.
happy about it. We rule by common sense to a large extent.
We rule by common sense to a large extent. Obviously, there's some uncommon sense slips through the cracks now and again. Again, how many letters are in Trump? Once you get past the T, and who the fuck writes a P like a giant A?
All right, Lee, good job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Keep that pen for yourself.
Okay.
It's smaller than the other ones. Is it cold in the Oval Office? His executive order is shrinking. They were clearly not planning this. This is just regular fucking paper. Look at it. Like his signature's bigger than the paragraphs.
Can you imagine that?
No. Yeah. This is probably QAnon code. There's some sort of he signed Project 2025's number 81, and that means he's gonna, in his 81st year next year, he's gonna declare himself Nasara Jassara and the Great Reset.
I'll put you in jail if you fix your car.
No, they don't. No, not anyone. What are you talking about? What? Who wants to do this?
Thank you, man. You have any questions?
Did he just say ma'am to Lee Zeldin?
Put you in jail if you fix your car. Thank you, man.
Yep, he just said thank you, ma'am.
You have any questions?
Boy, do we.
What do you make of the Supreme Court ruling today in regards to the mail-in ballots, and what comes next for the SAVE Act after today's ruling?
Well, because of the mail-in ballot ruling, which was a little bit surprising, gives people more time to vote illegally, let's say.
No, it actually gives people more time to vote legally. Since they voted on election day, it just has to go through the mail to get there. So the last day to postmark it is on election day, because that's the day their ballot left their fucking hands. If you lived out in the country and you voted on election day and it ended at 9 o'clock at night, but the truck broke down on the way to the state house, wherever they're counting the votes, and it passed midnight, and you were technically in the next day when the truck full of ballots arrived from the actual polling place, your votes would count too, because you voted on election day. Same rule, you dumbass.
The SAVE Act is even more important, and that's the right. You have to be a citizen of our country.
Yeah, that's in the Constitution. That's already there.
Okay, you have to show you're a citizen of our country, called citizenship.
Oh, is it? I was wondering what they've got. You know, that name's probably, you probably have to take one of those cognitive tests to learn that word. Big fancy word like citizenship. It's called citizenship, is it? Also, run that by me again at the top.
Even more
The SAVE Act. I thought it was the Save America Act, and you should call it that every time.
important, and that's the right. You have to be a citizen of our country.
He almost said right to fix again. You have the right to fix your vote.
Okay, you have to show you're a citizen of our country, called citizenship. Voter ID by photo. Voter ID.
Voter ID by photo. Photo ID. You know, sometimes the words leave your brain, and on their way to your mouth, they detour. They bounce around in your your soft palate, and your hard palate, and your nasal cavity, and they bump into other words. Sometimes they fuse together and they come out at the same time. That's Trump has that a lot when like 2 or 3 words try to get out of his face at the same time.
Yeah, look.
You know what I mean? So
Action replays in magnified fortune.
you know, sometimes they leave the old dome and they work their way down through the rest of your face, and you're all of a sudden saying shit you didn't expect to say.
Potatoes and chicken.
All right. So
Our army manned the airports. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
and then of course sometimes you're just fucking dumb. Hit the like, share the show. It's House Sparks Mega Worldwide. And I want to thank the maggots for showing up. Nobody else is going to show you the raw footage of Trump. They're going to carve out these little chunks to make him still seem like he's got half a brain. Or the other half of the brain. He's definitely got half a brain. It's not the working half, but...
No mail-in ballots unless you're in the military, disabled, you're ill, or you're away, or even on a vacation. We're being very open about it. It's pretty easy.
Okay, so there is a lot of mail-in ballots, 5 of them at least, 5 categories at least.
And we'll have honest elections. But the ruling, which a lot of people were waiting for, that was a ruling that was, I think it was very detrimental to honest elections. But it is what it is. Basically, they're keeping it a little bit the way it is now.
Because it's the law.
They may have a little bit of a restriction on based on the wording.
About firing a parliamentarian.
And then you have the very important one, the Slaughter case, which we'll talk about if you ask that question. But
Yeah, look, they handed out the questions to the Trump-friendly press, and you're supposed to answer them in order, okay? You big jerk.
Parliamentarian.
He'll try to answer them in order. You ask him.
What were you asking about?
Yeah, have you talked
You skipped past the one I was expecting.
with Thune about
I have. No, I can't imagine why you'd keep a woman that was put there by Harry Reid and Barack Hussein Obama.
What difference does it make? She's sticking to the rules of the Senate. Who gives a shit who put her there? She's either keeping to the rules or she isn't. The rule is the problem, not the person for you anyway. So everyone in that position, if they follow the rules and they don't break them for you, effectively nullify the filibuster as one person on behalf of the president, which sounds a little dictatorial, little fascistic. Yeah. Sounds less transparent and less representative of what the people want.
I cannot understand it.
Well, that's because people around you refuse to explain it to you, or they know you're an idiot and don't bother.
The leader has the right to fire the person at will and put somebody else there. That would be, because we get so many negative rulings from her.
Well, that's because you try to break the rules. Again, reconciliation is based on the idea that you can pass things on a simple majority, but only if they don't add to the deficit. Here's a good idea. Come up with a version of the Save America Act that doesn't add to the deficit, dumb fuck. Or do one that you can get the votes of your entire party on. Where the fuck is this, like, landslide, and also, by the way, never mind the fact that they by no means have a mandate. But part of the reason why the Republicans that are against it is because they know how many Republicans vote by mail. And they know it will harm them in an election. They will lose even more votes, especially in a midterm where if people can half-ass their vote by mailing it in as opposed to having to drive across town, they will. But if they're a little bit miffed at the administration and it's a midterm and Trump's not running anyways, the chance of them getting up off their fucking couch and going in and voting is slim to none. Meanwhile, Democrats are going to be standing in line waiting, and there are going to be news stories about how the polls are still open and people are standing outside waiting to vote. That's why the Republicans know they're screwed if you can't do mail-in voting. Jesus.
She's been there for years, and she was put there by Harry Reid, and Barack Hussein Obama. Harry Reid was
Barack Obama, who is sane.
a bad
I
guy,
saw that in the chat.
and he was the leader, and he put her. And the Speaker has the right to immediately fire her and put somebody else there. And
Nope.
it's not even.
Also, the Speaker. Again, even if he does, it doesn't change the fucking rules. Who cares? What you're saying is you want someone in there who will cheat on your behalf. It shouldn't matter who's in that position. The rule is the rule. If it adds to the deficit, you can't do it through reconciliation. And if you want to open that fucking can of worms and have Democrats pass stuff that Republicans actually want on a veto-proof majority through the Senate next session, get ready. Because if they can bring it to the floor because they know they don't have to worry about reconciliation anymore, then other people will just jump on and vote anyways.
Still there. She's obviously a good politician or something.
Or it doesn't matter.
Question on the Slaughter case. The Supreme Court just affirmed your right to fire the heads of independent agencies. Should we expect more firings as a result of this ruling?
I don't think so. It gives me the right.
He can't, because he doesn't have anybody that will serve. Look at how he put Pulte in charge of the DNI. Nobody wants to work with him. He can't even fire the people he doesn't like. Tulsi left and he was in deep shit.
It gives a president the right to do what the president should have the right to do.
Yes, and I trust you will, if you have any brains left over at the end of your term, you will remind your party of this when a Democratic president takes over.
And it's very interesting. It's a big ruling. It's been going on for almost 100 years. They've been working on this, and you know that it comes down at my term is a very great honor. But it bestows additional powers, or maybe the same power, on the president. The president has the right to do this, and that has to do with a lot of agencies all throughout the system. So it's considered, you know, the biggest.
Yikes! What you mean is, in his theory and in their theory, it restores a power given to the president that was taken away. Just say that. Now, I don't think it's a power that the president should have in the same way that he has to confirm people in the cabinet. So one asshole's bad judgment doesn't gack up the entire cabinet with, I don't know, Epstein co-conspirators and Russian sycophants. That wouldn't be good. So maybe at least having some form of a check on it might be good. And I don't know why you would buck that. If you have such faith in the quality of the people that you're putting in, then why would you worry about Senate confirmation? And he obviously doesn't give a shit about Senate confirmation. It feels like it's a lock because he's got the House and the Senate. But even, you know, if the balance started to skew and he started becoming unpopular and had to fill one of these, which is why he's got a lot of acting people. It's why Todd Blanche isn't going to make it in theory. And it's why, you know, they're going to have to hunt around for another DNI and all that stuff because the Senate doesn't want Bill Pulte. The Republicans in the Senate don't want him there either because that's just fucking insane. All right.
And I can understand that this has been going on for almost 100 years. They've been waiting for this decision. Yes.
Yeah, right. You're going to write, here lies the lack of presidential power, put a stake through its heart. It'll be in a plaque in the ballroom that they also wanted forever.
Think about how important it is to get the Save America Act passed. Who do you see as the biggest?
Thank you for reminding him it's the Save America Act, okay? It's not just the Save Act. It's not like we're trying to help people save money. That would be stupid.
Hurdle to getting this across the finish line.
Well, it's held up in the Senate. And frankly, if you terminated the filibuster, you just need 50 votes, and we have 53. And then you have JD. So,
no. These people are voting against it. You know, it's coming up through reconciliation. So even if you went through if you lost the filibuster, you still have to get those other 3 votes. They're still not going to vote for it. If they were going to vote for it anyways, you really think these guys are putting a flag in the ground to protect reconciliation as a structure?
the Democrats are going to terminate the filibuster, but
yeah, we always are. We're gonna fucking put 24 people on the Supreme Court, and we're gonna nationalize everything. We might even start buying stakes in tech companies. He's buying tech. Never mind.
If you did reconciliation, you could do it with 50 votes. I mean,
Right. But it adds to the deficit, so you fucking can't, because that's what reconciliation is for. You can pass anything you fucking want, as long as it doesn't cost the country money.
the best would be to terminate the filibuster, but for some reason, but you have the same basic people. But even Rand Paul is in favor of the Save America Act, if you can believe it. Think of it. Rand Paul is strongly in favor. He's fighting for it. So that's good news. But you would have Lisa Murkowski always against things like this. Nobody knows why. I think I know why.
I'll tell you why, because mail-in voting in Alaska is really fucking necessary. It's that kind of state.
But you have Lisa Murkowski, you have Susan Collins, you have...
Yes, and if you don't have mail-in voting, Democrats would take over Alaska, because the only people that would be able to vote without going way out of their way, like through horrible weather, would be the people who live in the towns and the cities. And that would edge to help Democrats. Why do you think she's even close to moderate a lot of times? Because she's got to service those voters. Because if...
Tillis is against, and he's not in office because of me, so he holds me, because I wouldn't endorse him. I think you have Senator Cassidy against it, too.
Cassidy's actually for it.
I think he supports it this time.
And I think you have Mitch McConnell against it, too.
Yeah, that reporter just said, I think he supports it.
Mitch McConnell,
Are there any
who's very
Democrats
disloyal
who
to
change
John
their
Thune.
mind?
You know, John Thune
Who's very disloyal to John Thune. John Thune's not getting rid of the filibuster or allowing this to go through with reconciliation. What the fuck are you talking about?
good person for him. I mean, he was a very loyal person, and Mitch McConnell's against him almost all the time because he's
only to do with bills that unconstitutional bills you're trying to shove through.
angry, I guess, probably at me.
Mr. President?
Yeah, please.
What about Democrats, Mr. President? Are there any you could think you could change their
Well, the
minds?
Democrats should do it too. I mean, you'll probably get one Democrat who's, a common sense Democrat.
He means Fetterman.
You know who that is. And everybody should vote for this. This is the Save America Act.
Ugh, God. Yeah, and we also watched the passage of the Patriot Act. You feel me?
Voter ID with photo, ideally, but voter ID, proof of citizenship.
Sorry, you're going to accept some form of non-photo ID after all this shit? What do you mean, ideally? Sorry, does the Save America Act, did it have preferably photo ID in it? Do maggots know this?
And no mail-in ballots, which is, to my way of thinking, maybe the most important of all because it's so corrupt.
Yeah, well, we'd get rid of Mike Lee, that's for sure.
But you have exceptions if you're away,
Define away.
exceptions for the military, they're deployed, exception, illness, disability, you have exceptions, strong exceptions. But the cheating on the ballots, the mail-in ballot, Jimmy Carter said it a long time ago. He said,
Yeah, before we had UPC symbols and QR codes and computer tracking of ballots. When you used to lick envelopes.
he headed up a committee with Scoop Jackson and others, all respected. And he actually, I think it was Jimmy Carter's finest moment, not doing president.
Not doing president or not during president. Both are gibberish, but
But he headed up
hold on.
his finest moment, not doing president.
Not doing president. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. Not during the time he was president? Or not, okay. He wasn't doing president at that time? Jimmy does president?
But he headed up a committee and he said, he came out,
G did? Who's G?
not doing president. But he headed up a committee, and
G did? Did G head up, not doing president, but G had it? Jesus Christ.
he said he came out with a strong conclusion that if you do mail-in ballots, there's going to be cheating. France gave it up. We're the only country in the world that does this type of mail-in ballot. There's no
Also, what do you mean this type?
other country in the world. You know why? They tried it, and it was totally dishonest.
No, they didn't. Most of them are just way fucking smaller.
And it's really dishonest. So we shouldn't do mail-in ballots.
He voted by mail last election, just for the record.
So it's not too much to ask for voter ID, proof of citizenship, and no mail-in ballots. And you have honest elections.
What are your plans for the housing bill, Mr. President? Are you
I don't know.
What's your plan for the housing bill, Mr. President? I don't know.
What are your plans for the housing bill, Mr. President? Are you
I don't know. I think it's so unimportant by compared to the Save America.
It's so unimportant by compare to. I don't know. I'm starting to understand why this is only 14 minutes long.
It's so unimportant by compared to the Save America Act. I think the Save
Hell, he corrected himself. By compare to.
America Act is exactly what it says. It's saving America from crooked elections. And
it wouldn't go into effect until next year. It wouldn't even apply until the next election. If it was signed today, it wouldn't affect the midterms. You wouldn't be able to start purging people and starting from scratch the entire fucking voter rolls. It wouldn't happen. So holding up the housing bill to get this passed is idiotic. I don't know. What about the housing bill? I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's so unimportant by compared to the Save America Act.
By compared to the Save America Act.
I think the Save America Act is exactly what it says. It's saving America from crooked elections. And the housing bill is a bill that can get approved. They worked on it long and hard.
It did get approved. They passed it in the House and the Senate.
It's very bipartisan. That means the Democrats like it. I think it's maybe
It means both parties like it. That's what bipartisan means.
even it's probably maybe more that way. They're getting things that I wouldn't necessarily agree to. Nobody knows more than housing in the history of the presidency. Nobody did well like me in housing.
Whoa. All right. That was a hell of a sentence as well. Nobody what?
Maybe even it's probably maybe more that way. They're getting things that I wouldn't necessarily agree to. Nobody knows more than housing in the history of the presidency. Nobody did well like me in housing.
Nobody knows more than housing than me in the presidency?
Maybe more that way. They're getting things that I wouldn't necessarily agree to. Nobody knows more than housing in the history of the presidency.
Nobody knows more than housing in the history of the presidency.
Nobody did well like me in housing.
Nobody did well like me in housing. Sorry. Can we just do a face swap with AI of Biden talking in this? Play this, and I guarantee every maggot online would be laughing and mocking and going, oh my God, he's fucking gone. Joe Rogan would play this on a fucking loop if we used AI to put Biden's face on him right now. Obviously, we would have to stretch Biden's jowls out to make it happen, but still. Oh.
Maybe more that way. They're getting things that I wouldn't necessarily agree to. Nobody knows more than housing in the history of the presidency. Nobody did well like me in housing. I made a lot of money. I made a lot of money with housing.
I made a lot of money with housing. No, you didn't. Your dad did. And when you started in business with him, you both got sued by the Justice Department for not renting to black people. That was your business plan. Housing.
But when I look at that bill, it's a bill. But when I look at the Save America Act, it's about saving America.
When I look at that bill, it's a bill. It's just a bill. Yes, it's only a bill. And no shit, it already passed Capitol Hill. And that makes it a law unless you sign it in 10 days. Veto in 10 days.
I'd like to have the Save America Act added on. That's probably not going to happen because we have 4 Republican senators, maybe 5, that
Notice how the number went up. It was 3 initially.
just won't vote for it. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's funny. It's almost as if it passes and they don't have mail-in voting, they'll fucking lose.
Somebody, Lisa Murkowski from Alaska. Nobody's done more for Alaska than me. She's
What do you mean, drill holes in it?
Trump deranged. What can I tell you? But those 4 or 5 people that I mentioned should vote. How do you vote against Save America? How do you vote against it? How do you
I don't know, the same way you might have voted against the Patriot Act when it came up to be renewed.
vote against voter identification or proof of citizenship? The only people that would vote against that are people that are going to cheat in an election. The Democrats need it because their policy is so bad. They want open borders. They want high taxes. They want terrible medical, anything medical.
Okay, yeah, somebody's like, wrap it up. They have terrible anything medical. Whoa. You mean like, I don't know, cognitive exams, that kind of medical?
People that would vote against that are people that are going to cheat in an election. The Democrats need it because their policy is so bad. They
Terrible.
want open borders. They want high taxes. They want terrible medical, anything medical. I'm the one that did favored nations. I'm reducing drug prices by...
I am reducing, yeah. It hasn't happened yet. Still not happening. He reduced prices to what they already are available on GoodRx.
100, 300, 400%. Nobody even talks about it. The news doesn't talk about it.
Right, because that's not a thing.
The Democrats are opposed to it. If they...
No, by the way, they have other more important things to mock you on. It literally has just taken a back seat to all the other crazy shit you say. Anything medical.
They'll put it back. Your drug prices are going to go up by 200, 300, 400, 500%. You know that.
But will you sign that housing bill?
I have not. It hasn't been sent to me yet. It's coming.
What are you waiting for? Did they mail it on election day? You got 5 days.
I understand, and then I'll make it. Here's what I would like to sign.
Here's what I'd like to sign. A totally different bill that hasn't passed and doesn't have the votes that we could only get through if we break all the rules. That if Democrats broke those rules, we would say that they were ruling like dictators and kings and fascists.
More than a bill, big deal.
Yeah, big deal. Housing. Fuck you. The dude's got 5 houses, and he hates all of them, including the one the taxpayers are paying for. They're paying for all of them. It's a yawn. The housing bill is a yawn. Listen, it's just not exciting.
To me yet. It's coming. I understand, and then I'll make it. Here's what I would like to sign.
If it's coming and you don't know what's in it, then how do you know it's a yawn? It might be a fucking page turner.
Much more than a bill, big deal. It's a yawn. Some people say it's wonderful.
Yeah, people who need housing, maybe.
To me, compared to the Save America Act, just about everything is a big yawn.
So is that why you keep falling asleep in meetings?
And Mr. President, on birthright citizenship.
Birthright citizenship is next. What are your thoughts? Birthright citizenship. What are your thoughts, and will you accept it if it rules against you?
Well, I guess I have to accept it's the Supreme Court, so I'll accept. I think it's very bad for our nation. We're the only nation that does it.
No.
No other nation does that birthright citizenship. No, not even close.
Yeah, because we're the most pluralistic democracy on earth. That's what we were designed to be. America doesn't show up on anybody's 23andMe for a fucking reason. And anybody who says, my family came here on the Mayflower, we made this place. Those motherfuckers were their progeny, their children sided with the Confederacy because they were royalists at the end. If you came over in the 16 and 1700s, especially in the early part before the revolution started, you weren't necessarily gunning to be an American at that point.
Did it, they ended it.
Sometimes you were gunning against it, if you know what I mean.
It's tremendously destructive. It's extremely costly. I don't know. It's up to them.
Yeah, well, look at all of Musk's kids.
But in terms of for the good of the country, it would be great if they didn't allow it. It would be great. But I can't tell you. The Slaughter case was the big case today. That was really a big case because it gave strength to presidents and strength to the presidency. A very important case. It's been going on for almost 100 years. Think of that. And this was the ruling that.
So just loop back to the one you think you won.
That really topped everything by a lot today. Yeah.
I think you're right. I think he just took a shit. I think there was and they know it. That's why they start running everybody out.
Zoran Mamdani said in an interview this week that he was open to being the poster child for socialist candidates. Are you worried about more socialist candidates across the United
States? I think it's a big threat to our nation, actually, because it's not socialism, it's really communism. They use the word social democrat because it sounds so nice, but it's really communism you're talking about. I think it's the biggest threat to our nation there is, maybe since our founding. That includes
not a bunch of armed lunatics storming up the steps of the Capitol trying to stop the count of votes.
World War I, World War II, September 11th. It includes the Pearl Harbor attack.
Wow. So the three primary winners and Zoran Mamdani as the fucking mayor of New York City, which, by the way, at the end of what he's doing will be about as communist as a 2% boost in welfare spending. That's worse than 9/11.
I think this is the biggest threat to our nation. People will smile when I say that, but
no, we're not smiling. We're laughing. What you mean is we will grin and snicker because you're a silly person.
The smart people are going to say, he's probably right.
Who would those people be?
It's basically introducing communism into the United States of America.
Yeah, it sounds like, what was it, Ronald Reagan's LP about Medicare?
There's never been anything so dangerous. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, President. Thank you, guys. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Get out. He just pooped. Get out.
Thank you, guys.
Clear out. He's.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
You can hear it.
Thank you.
They got out just in time. They shut them. Yeah, they shut off the cameras, but they forgot to take his mic out. Oops. So sad. Yeah, it's that they got to clear everybody out when that happens. His diaper was full. That's how we know. You think they you think they just know, like on a psychic level, they can tell, or you think he has a signal that he does? Like if he does his hands like this 3 times, it means his diaper's full? Or do they have one of those like basement water sensors in his pants, inside his pants? So by the way, maggots were all over the rulings as well, and no one sums that up better than Bendover Johnson. These are his 2 thumbnails. Breaking news: Trump victory. SCOTUS, you're fired. All these people. And then breaking news: SCOTUS betrays. Back and forth. Oh no! It's one of those days where they reaffirm something that's basically true. You just got to give people more notice and do it with cause. Can't just rando fire people if for no reason. And then, of course, especially if they've been confirmed by the Senate or, yeah. So stupid, including the parliamentarian, which I think is what he's trying to actually sidestep. He wants that because he thinks that'll give him the ability to fire her. And then, of course, everybody's mad at Amy Coney Barrett. I'll see if I can find it real quick. But yeah, here it is. This is the reaction to Amy Coney Barrett going against Trump. It's like she's a libtard now. Oh, by the way, they're making AI videos of her talking. This is really creepy and stupid and totally foreign bot driven.
Well, I have a feeling President Trump isn't going to like this opinion. But my job is to decide the case as I see the law, not to make him happy.
I had a feeling this one would make people mad.
By the way, he looks like my buddy Matt Fuller, who plays with Puddle of Mud and Superfluous. He's a good dude with this dude. It's very strange. It's freaking me out a little.
Agree or disagree, the court made its decision. That's democracy.
Today was a major law.
I don't know, like what looks more AI, but those two with the fake makeup, or this making a Trump sound relatively coherent and a little bit like this is what, 2017?
People. I don't even like mail-in ballots. The only way we can fix this is to pass the SAVE Act, get it done.
I don't even like mail-in ballots. Yeah, you can tell when somebody translated that from Russian to English and had it made. Where's the two freakouts on this? Okay, so I'm going to jump around a little bit because that 14 minutes took a little bit of time. I thought this stood out, kind of important one. This is Forbes breaking news. And by the way, I still got to issue another nut warning on this one because holy hell, I don't even think Trump is in this clip, and the picture alone, it's like he's borrowing Bill O'Reilly's neck for this one. I don't get it. You're a billionaire. Can't you get? Isn't there a treatment? Isn't there something? Can't you get your neck stapled? Like your teeth are fake. What? Just do everything else. Shit. All right. So, anyways, this one, economist, whoever that is, we don't know. We'll find out, I suppose. It's Henrietta Treyz, the co-founder and director of economic policy at Veda Partners, joined Forbes newsroom to discuss the economic and market reactions to the tenuous ceasefire. Very notable. A lot of escalation between U.S. and Iran happens when market is closed. Yes, it's kind of interesting. You think people are finally noticing that?
Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes.
Hi, Brittany.
Joining me once again is Henrietta Treyz, the co-founder and director of economic policy at Veda Partners. Henrietta, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me, Brittany.
And thank you for allowing me to use the standard bookshelf that is behind everyone that does these Zoom calls into news networks.
Good to be here.
I really want to get your perspective on the back and forth that we saw between Iran and the United States over the weekend, because the ceasefire that was agreed to in the Memorandum of Understanding between the United States and Iran earlier this month.
Yeah, best that they not play the actual audio from this because Trump is huffing and puffing between every word.
Seems to be in a really fragile state. Over the weekend, Iran launched strikes on multiple vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. And in response, the U.S. retaliated by striking multiple Iranian military targets. So to start off the conversation, as an economist, what do you make of the moment we're in right now?
Well, the most important thing as a market watcher and an economist is really to focus on when these events are happening.
Yeah.
It's very notable and often discussed on Wall Street that a lot of the conflict escalation happens when the market is closed.
No shit.
So you get war on the weekends, and then during market hours, we're back in ceasefire range. So,
well, it's interesting that we've got a weekend warrior running the Department of Defense. That it checks out. That tracks.
So that's a very interesting dynamic, just from the perspective of
interesting dynamic is how I would put it as well.
How is the stock market responding to all of this?
I want to dive a little.
Somebody's saying, why does she have an Emmy? I think Forbes Breaking News has an Emmy. for news stuff or something.
Deeper in there, because that is a big point of conversation, the war on the weekends component, because shortly after the
everybody's warring on the weekends. Hey, yeah. Everybody's fucking with the price of oil.
Markets closed on Friday, the United States announced the retaliatory strike against
Yeah, that's weird. Isn't that weird? That's weird. Is that weird? It's so weird.
Iran. Before futures opened on Sunday, shortly before that, news broke both sides were stopping strikes and were going to have a meeting this week.
Yeah, it's so weird. And yet they also continued to strike, even though they said they're not. That's funny. And it's interesting that's,
What do you make of that?
I mean, what do I make of it? I mean, that's what I make of it.
Tea leaves for us. Make us understand.
This is a very precarious situation for the president and for the Republican Party, and obviously for those seeking to avoid military escalation from here. So honestly, a lot of dynamics flow together here, and I'll walk through them. The president has a midterm election coming up. That should be your starting point when you consider the economic effect of the war and the president's ability to escalate from here. He has decided.
Well, only if the president has zero trust with his own supporters and the rest of the country has already decided by paying attention to what he's done over the last year, especially, that he's lost his fucking mind and he doesn't know what he's doing and he never did in the first place. And so they're tending to lean against his party in the upcoming election. If you had faith in what you were doing and you really had a master salesman who could totally manipulate the media, you wouldn't worry about any of this shit. You would just do what you think is right and continue doing it. Right now, they're trying to appear like that's what they're doing while also tacoing.
The House and Senate stare down the possibility of losing control to the Democratic Party, that they need to sort of stop the bleeding. As you know, we are at tank bottoms on Cushing, which is our domestic inventory of gasoline. So escalating the war from here, keeping the strait closed, is a very real escalatory risk that could get it to the point where we're at $4.50 gasoline, even $5 gasoline again. And the president made the decision that going into an election, we couldn't get that far. We couldn't let it get that close. So we decided to reach the Memorandum of Understanding.
Yeah, that's what he was doing. He decided to have a Memorandum of Understanding.
Raise your taco, take a bite. Trump always chickens out, so it's gonna be alright. Raise your taco, take a bite. Trump always chickens out, so it's gonna be alright.
He magically found his way to the Memorandum of Understanding.
Fire. But the Republican conference
that never held
in the Senate in particular is now well past the 90-day mark when Congress is supposed to say whether the president can authorize further military force from now. And these guys have a responsibility that they are going to be judged on in
that's adorable.
Just a few months at Election Day. So it's this dynamic that basically the president doesn't have the ability politically to escalate the war from here. And the ceasefire is critical to maintain. And it goes in fits and starts. You know, sometimes you can have a ceasefire, but the second that Israel or Iran escalate, the president also needs to have some show of force, some display of ability to respond. So that's going to keep our armed forces in the Strait, in the Gulf region. It's going to keep the risk of escalation on the military front very alive and present for the next 60 days at least. And it's going to keep the risk of higher gas prices, higher jet fuel prices, higher fertilizer prices front and center, not just for the Republican members up for election, but also for voters who are going to decide to go to the polls in November.
Oh, boy. So I've been basically saying that for a while, but it's, it's nice to see it sort of reflected in the greater extremes of the financial media, I think, with the from the fringes of it to the center points, your Forbes, your Bloombergs, your Market Watches, when they finally come around and go, you know what, that Sparks kid was right on the money, no pun intended. Oh, there's an echo? Why is that? Was there an echo on this thing? I don't Echo. Why would that be? So very strange. Let's see. I'm gonna go back to that window and see if another thing pops up. Check, check, check. Nope. Okay. Seems all right. There must have been some sort of weird effect. Sounds like Trump can't make a deal because he's an idiot. Right. Exactly. Never could. Never did. All the deals were his dad's. And by the way, we'll show you another example of how Fox News and then I got a surprise speed run of Tucker that I have to show you because it was amazing. Okay, Echo is gone. Okay, good. Hit the like, share the show. It's House Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, etc., etc., etc. Also with the Venmoing, which is somewhere to be seen. Hold on, I can do it. I thought I had a button earlier, and then the button stopped working. Yeah, I don't know why that is. I'll work on it later. Yeah. So there it is. If you want to Venmo me, that'd be lovely. If you can't, don't worry about it. If you're stressed out, don't worry about it either. Just appreciate the people who do. Anyways. Yeah, CSL, Trump needs to invest in turtlenecks. You watch, he's going to start dressing like late era Steve Jobs before too long. The next one is awful. I got to tell you, like, all right. How fast can I do this? I got to do it quick. Get in here. This is rough. Like, whatever you do, don't look just under the microphone in this. Don't do it. When I lift the nut warning, do not look right below the microphone. Don't do it. I'm telling you. You did, didn't you? Don't look. Look away. Ugh. Don't look at it. What? Good Lord. It's brutal. Now, this is Fox Business. Operation Pulverize. Trump's path to finish it off is clear.
Iran is asking to talk after a series of strikes over the weekend.
Which is, he's been saying they want to make a deal. They're desperate to make a deal the whole time, and that's been a lie.
The fragile ceasefire in the Persian Gulf.
You mean the non-existent ceasefire?
Writing on Truth Social that the U.S. will hold fresh rounds of negotiations
in Doha
with Tehran tomorrow in Doha. This is as the peace is holding for that moment.
They went back to not firing so they wouldn't affect the markets.
Markets are jumping and oil is holding steady as well. The White House is staying confident that a deal is within reach.
The president obviously wants to see the peace process play out, and the Iranians would be best to sign a good deal with the United States of America because the president has proven he's unafraid to use the might of our military. Gas prices.
Well, it's not like it puts him or his children in danger.
Will continue to tumble. We're seeing crude is lower than it was prior to the start of this excursion, as the president calls it. The Memorandum of Understanding will continue to be.
Boy, is that empty in the background. Boy, that big fair's got a huge turnout. I can barely hear them over the cheering crowd.
Discussed. The ceasefire is in place, and we hope that we can get to a good deal.
Caroline, your thoughts. Here we are again. It was disappointing that this exchange occurred back and forth. We're back we're going to talk in Doha. Can we trust the negotiators in Doha, even though Kushner and Witkoff, always mean well and try to do the best for the country?
Excuse me, citation needed. I call bullshit. No.
This is something that has been going on now for quite some time where Iran keeps violating. The president keeps saying, I'm sort of holding that nuclear option on reserve, but he doesn't use it.
Yeah.
Sorry, the nuclear option? What do you mean? You're expecting, you think his trump card is nuking them?
Was always supposed to be just a precursor for a much more substantive agreement to come later. So.
Okay. Yeah. All right. My bad. I guess I was expecting too much.
That's all well and good. But I think to your point, it is significant that Iran has broken basically every single promise in the MOU, not only not ceasing hostilities or all military operations, but they haven't stopped threatening as well. And they're hanging that over our head. And I do think there was an oversight in the original negotiation, which was to not really include Israel in the Lebanon situation, because obviously Hezbollah, one of the proxies of Iran, is going to continue to hit Israel hard. They're going to continue to send strikes, and Israel has no choice but to defend its.
Excuse me, the Lebanon thing wasn't even in there. I know it's mentioned 3 times in the first paragraph, but and the first clause, and it's almost like that defines the entire thing. But they didn't. Ask Trump. That's not even in there. It's not even, it's a totally separate issue.
So then Iran can cite that as, oh, look, one of the U.S. allies is violating the terms of the MOU, even though, they weren't initially included. But
it is included. Hold on. This is going to annoy me. Get out of here. I can type. Okay, there you go. What is actually in it, ladies and gentlemen? Hold on, show reader. There we go. Below is the text in full. Here it is. All right. Okay, here it is. Below, this is the text. This is the actual MOU. This is the text of the MOU that Trump signed, allegedly, even though he apparently signed the Farsi version because he doesn't care. I don't even know that they filled in the date. We'll assume they left that blank too. God knows. The United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran and their allies in the current war are signing this MOU. Israel did not sign this MOU with us. I don't know what the hell that means. To declare the immediate and permanent termination of military operations on all fronts. So if we're, policing the Houthis someplace or like anything, this would, in theory, this would include not just Lebanon, but Gaza, the West Bank. I don't know, the forces that they support in Africa. Seriously, all fronts, including in Lebanon, and undertake from now on not to initiate any war or any military operation against each other, and to refrain from the threat or use of force against each other, and ensuring the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Lebanon. The final deal will confirm the permanent termination of war on all fronts, including in Lebanon, and other provisions of this paragraph. Lebanon. Where is it? There we go. Lebanon. It's mentioned 3 fucking times in the document, lady. Jesus. Run that by me again, Fox News head lady.
Defend itself, and so then Iran can cite that as, oh, look, one of the U.S. allies is violating the terms of the MOU, even though, they weren't initially included. But
it's literally in the first part. I'm fine. I'm all right. I'm good. I'm doing good. I'm having a good time.
For chat warfare that we see going on, and I do think it's interesting that Trump.
Gee, it's almost like the Iranian people and the American people share the fact that our countries are both run by petty, egomaniacal assholes.
Alluded in his Truth Social post, and it's hard to know what kind of commentary that he gives on this.
What the fuck he's talking about?
There is really his true opinion on the matter, but there really are.
We just assume he's lying.
Are only 2 options, which is you give the bag away, you give a lot of concessions in exchange for peace, but then you have a lot of similarities with the Obama nuclear deal. Although I will say the criticisms of this MOU so far, especially from the left, are that this is essentially the same as what Obama did. It's not, in the sense that the context has fundamentally changed.
Also, they've been.
All right. What's the context? Obama managed to do it without firing a shot? Is that the context? Do you think the power of the U.S. military, especially our tactical nuclear abilities or the B-2 bombers and the missiles and bombs they're able to drop, have changed since 2015?
Weekend in advance of the conversation, so that changes the Obama game completely.
Yes.
But Dagan, I want to kick it over to you because many people are impatient and they keep saying Trump should have finished the job. He shouldn't have done a ceasefire at all. He gave them time to rearm and to get to the position where they are and they can punch back at us. But
yeah, by the way, these are not criticisms you're hearing from, quote, the left or Democrats. This is from their own viewers and their own, these are, I think, relatively legit tactical criticisms that someone would have in the abstract. But she's not saying this because this is how the left is picking on our favorite president. So how do you push back against these libtards?
we're sitting in a position where you duly noted in the first hour, whether it's the stock market, the oil price, or the bond market, that's not telling President Trump to do anything that isn't along the course he's on right now.
The course that
Okay, she's getting scarier by the day. She's getting paler and skinnier. I don't know if this is Ozempic head or if she's sold her soul and the bill has come due.
The White House has taken is to resupply the world with crude oil and distillates and other fertilizer. And as long as Javier Blas made a joke over the weekend, the Bloomberg energy columnist, about hostilities shall only happen outside of market hours over the weekend. And
yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
It's like fighting.
It's called market manipulation. They're doing it on purpose.
Fighting, truce, talks, Doha, Qatar, market.
An hour before futures open, too.
Right. So
an hour before futures open. Did you hear him say that? Did you hear him say it? Even Fox News is recognizing the manipulation now. It's so, it's not just overt, it's ham-handed. It's lazy and obvious.
Qatar, market.
An hour before futures open, too.
Right.
An hour before futures open, too.
So we joke, but
it's not a joke.
So crude is moving. Product is moving out of the Persian Gulf. And I will point to, and prices are contained, if not falling. Oil is up. And crude oil, West Texas Intermediate, was 67 and change before the conflict started. And gasoline was under $3 a gallon. It was $2.98. So current national average for regular unleaded is $3.86.
Yeah, that's not under $3. But we're supposed to be happy because it's under $4.50?
Falling, barely falling from yesterday. So we're starting to kind of slow down those declines in gasoline.
Because the reserves are low.
But crude is still moving, particularly from Saudi Arabia. And these were Saudi is the second biggest producer in the world behind the United States. And the first group of Saudi supertankers, the very large crude carriers, have exited the Strait of Hormuz, now in the Gulf of Oman, on their way to Asia.
Can we just look at that chart again real quick? National average gas prices per gallon of regular. A year ago it was $3.18. A week ago it was $3.92. A month ago it was $4.39. Now it's $3.86. And what she means is it slowed down. It went from that $4.39 to the $3.92. It shaved off 10% fairly quickly. And then it started to even out. So in talking to JoJo from Jers this morning, I brought up this fact that I always felt like when oil prices would when gas prices would leap up and then they would go back down, but they would always they would go back down to a number that was still above what I was paying before. You always feel like, gas goes up 40 cents and then it drops 30, you're still paying 10 cents a gallon more, and that becomes the new norm. And then they keep doing that over and over again. This is without a war, without any of this other stuff, that this is the trick that gas companies play over the years. This is another similar situation. It's going to settle in at $3.50, and you're going to be paying, 40 to 50 cents more than you were paying a year ago. And Trump and everybody around him is going to tell you that this is a win. Congratulations, hashtag winning.
Saudi supertankers, the very large,
or that this is the price going lower than you were paying last year. Who are you going to believe? The facts are your lion eyes, or what Trump says.
Crude carriers have exited the Strait of Hormuz, now in the Gulf of Oman, on their way to Asia, to Japan. One exited Sunday, Monday in dark mode. Another has gone dark. Two others remain visible in the Saudi oil port. So that's what's most important in the next 60 days is, even though my reaction when the hostilities broke out on Friday, because I'm a nut, I was like, Operation Pulverize.
Right.
But that's not good for the United States, our deficit, our budget, safety, security, oil inventories. But that was my gut reaction, and it was wrong.
So you don't.
Just in case you don't watch or consume any of this, her her natural reaction was, we need to essentially nuke Iran for fucking with the oil markets.
Rise. If oil is moving and oil stays even up a couple of bucks around 70, we're doing okay.
Yeah, we're doing okay because they live in New York. They don't fucking, they take the train to work, or the network sends a car for them. They don't pay for the gas. They're looking at this from an investor standpoint. They're looking at barrels of oil and the price going up and down in a way that they can make money either direction. They're not looking at it like you and I look at it, which is how much will it be at the pump going forward?
So the president is probably saying, we'll keep trying to talk. I do believe he wants to reach some sort of an agreement through diplomacy here. I think, going with bombs is a last resort for him.
Do you ever think that while these sentences come out of her face, she's like, how many times have I said those exact words over the last 8 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Dagan. I think at some point we may need to use the pulverize option because we have to keep our finger on the trigger, pun intended, because we've seen them.
Well, were the strikes enough this weekend to kind of
it's a reminder that
to remind them that if you don't watch your P's and Q's, because they're coming back to the table. I scoff a little at the location because I don't trust the Qataris, but
if this is going to be just a non.
Wow. Why? Because they hang out with Tucker and he used to work at the network. Were you one of the people he was mean to?
Compliant toddler. And
I was going to say sexually harassed, but I don't think he did that much of anything because he's smooth in front like a Ken doll.
Iran from now until the time we stop talking about, which is not going to be ever, right? We're going to turn the MOU into an actual peace treaty, and it's going to be violated. As Caroline was saying earlier, they're finding every loophole they can to say, well, we didn't do this, but Israel did that, so now we're going to start firing on the Strait of Hormuz and close it down. I think what's telling Dagan's point is the administration made the right decision. We need to get supplies out into the market, right? Otherwise, we're going to handicap the rest of the global economy, and this doesn't become just a U.S.-Iran situation or Israel and Lebanon. It's a global phenomenon that's not good for anyone. But the key to that is just continuing the threat. I think the president's doing it right. I mean,
oh my God. He tacoed because of the economic damage this would do, because they didn't plan for it, because he's an idiot. And he thought this would be quick, and it wouldn't be. And all the other presidents before him that were looking for other ways of handling this, the reason they did that is because anybody could look and see that this was going to turn out this way. Every other, by the way, the rest of the shows around the, that are in the Bloomberg world, and like people from Goldman Sachs and those assholes who sit on these panels and yammer about this, they're all talking about this in terms of a slog, in terms of, a quagmire for the oil markets. That there's no way to remedy this quickly. And a bunch of ships getting out finally that have been sitting there full of oil doesn't mean they're going to turn around and come back. And you're looking at demand destruction in a lot of these countries versus that, them returning and the flow of oil happening again and driving the entire, this sort of feverish growth machine that they all seem to be chasing all the time. So, let me show you something real quick. By the way, hit the like and share the show. It's House Sparks Mega Worldwide. This is I want to try this. Where is it? Yeah. Where are you? The you and the tube. So it shouldn't come as a surprise that that Tucker Carlson is a Russian asshat. Asset. And he literally has on Victor Boot, the guy they called the Merchant of Death. Remember that guy? The guy we traded, that Obama got arrested and we traded Russia for Brittany Griner and other people. Remember that? Because our people mean more than any kind of propaganda win. And I want you to see the thumbnail for Tucker. And the illusion, I guess, that he wants this to plant in your head. Merchant of Death breaks silence. And Tucker's looking at him. He's staring down the Merchant of Death. And there's these airplanes flying over. And the airplanes, by the way, are flying from Tucker's side to his side. Like, this is like Tucker declaring ideological war on the Merchant of Death. And it says, breaking. Merchant of Death warns Russia is preparing for a devastating attack on Western Europe. Okay. he's saying the same shit that Solovyev and Simonyan and all these dickheads on Russian TV have been saying the entire fucking war, the whole time. Okay. But I'm going to show you something about this, and I'm going to have to show you by putting this on, let's see, playback speed. We're going to have to increase this like, 1 3/4%. Because this, he barely introduces him. And then look who does all the talking. And we've all seen Tucker interviewing people where he's interjecting all the time, asking questions and laughing and all this shit. I'm fairly certain he asks 4 questions in this entire hour.
And they
Hold on. I'll back this up to here. Hold on. Here.
Mr. Matt, thank you very much for doing this. Americans have been distracted. I think I certainly been distracted by what's happening in Iran. But there has been a very significant escalation in the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, and really Russia and the West. Can you describe how that conflict has changed recently?
Okay, so that's it. Can you describe how the conflict has changed recently between Russia and Ukraine? How's it changed while we've all been busy with Iran?
Well, there is several points. Let's start from the situation that this conflict is not conflict between Ukraine and Russia. This conflict basically between Russia and entire coalition of willing. It's NATO, United States, plus other vassals, I would say, with the Western world, who is just blindly complies. So they, from get-go, supplied to Ukraine all kinds of the armaments. Initially, it was javelins and lambs, anti-tank and anti-aircraft missiles, and it went to the Patriots, and it went to the tanks, Abrams, Leo.
By the way, this would be my first interjection, if I may. If you're not sending your jets and your tanks into another country, what fucking difference does it make if they have anti-tank and anti-aircraft firearms, missiles, systems? Right? Those are anti-invasion weapons. If you don't invade, you don't have to worry about them, you fucking prick.
Then it went to the F-16, and every time Ukrainians and their handlers, especially in London, especially MN6, thinking this will be a game changer, doesn't work. Ukraine really losing grounds, maybe not as fast as we want, but frontline progressing. Every week there is several villages, small towns are being liberated by Russian army. Of course, since last year, decision was to remove all the military production from Ukraine to the Europe, which was done efficiently. Just more than months ago, Russian Ministry of Defense published a list of all these factories who, in fact, in Europe producing armaments for the Ukrainian army. So think of this. They are the logistics, their industries are now in Europe. So Europe is not natural part. And
by the way, you'll notice that Victor Boot does the think of this. That's the Trump thing, which is how you subtly, it's like pickup artist bullshit. It's how you plant an idea in somebody's mind and make them think it's their idea. Think of this. And I just say think of this. I got 150,000 subscribers in a couple of weeks, and people are really hearing my message. Think of this. You really want to subscribe. I mean, people want to subscribe. Get it? See how that works?
Openly declaring that they are in full support of the Ukraine, and they want this war against Russia till the last Ukrainians. So this is a very much, war-mongering approach we're going to lead. So they moved this production there, and about 2 months ago, there is a mass, quantity of the drones start coming to Ukrainian troops. They receive the capacity to launch simultaneously up to 500, 600 drones long range, which is a range over 1,500 kilometers, let's say about 1,000 miles. So they're trying to heat our refinery.
Oh, the only Tucker moments you'll see is occasionally he goes, which he's trying to act. I don't know if he's trying to hope he shuts the fuck up so he can interject and go, wow, that's terrible. They're killing civilians and all. They'd like, help him. How can I help you? How can I cradle the balls of your propaganda in my lower jaw like a fucking pelican?
Trying to heat some civilian, buildings. Definitely, if it has any strategic, I would say value or results. No, yes, there is a reducing production in refinery for a couple of days. Then basically refinery back up and running, and then they change completely to the terror attacks.
By the way, if you don't notice there, he says that the Ukrainians hit a civilian site with civilians in it that has no military value. But if in hitting that, it slows down drone production for a short time, we get it back up in a matter of days. Well, then it's not a civilian site, you dumb motherfucker.
This was a terror attack when they perfectly knew that in the Lugansk region, there was a college where the students, over 100 of them, been in the dormitory, and the drones, came, attack, and as a result, 21 students were killed. Then it was not end of the story. There was no excuse. They said there was a soldier. Well, the journalist went and showed the proof there was a student, and there is none of military presence there, even close. After this, there was attack on the several buses. They start using
By the way, this is just it's almost like cliff notes of the mill blogger bullshit you see on Telegram, the Z crowd on. He's just literally like checking off all the bullshit talking points over the last like 2 fucking years, much of which has been either debunked or is nonsensical horseshit or is the result of actual Russian strikes that their shit landed on their own people. And it's selling this as and basically just buying his way into Putin's graces by doing this appearance on Tucker's thing. And Tucker's job apparently is just sit back and let him say this shit. No pushback, no question, no, is that really what happened? None of the journalism or seeking the truth horseshit, none of that.
In the border region to attack civilians, any car which going, because of this new, what they call Martian drones with the AI vision who take the same decision which target to attack. So they just, not even operator. It goes and it's choose any target, any moving car, any moving, even the kit of the bike. And they're just hitting this kit on the bike. So it's a purely terrorist approach. They're trying to, if they can't win on the battlefield, they're trying to see discord and panic within the Russian population. But guess what? It's only make Russian population more resolute, and there is more and more demand from our president and from our, top military commanders. Hey, you need really to finish this. We have enough arsenal of the, proper, I would say, weapons, which would definitely bring this war quickly to the end. Not resorting to the nuclear ones.
Which European countries are manufacturing these drones?
How far in are we on this one? Yeah, it's a 5-minute monologue, then this one.
These armaments being used
okay, and he's like, which countries are manufacturing these drones
against civilians in Russia?
Well,
okay, sorry.
Well, first of all, there is many factories which is in Poland, there is in Germany, in France, in Italy, in Denmark, in Turkey. There is a presence of them. I would say Spain, Belgium, Dutch, of course, British with a huge
Again, these are factories that make like European arms that they're selling or giving to Ukraine. And he's like, these factories are Ukrainian factories. They move them there. So because they move them there, we could bomb Poland.
Contributing to their so-called cruise missile program Flamingo, which is in fact British one, and all this is officially announced. Hey, we are producing this. Ukraine will get capacity to hit deep inside Russia. This is again pushing us towards to very close to the conflict, where finally we would be have no other choice but to start hitting logistic centers in Poland, in the Romania, within the Germany, within all these countries.
There's Tucker's eyebrow lift. He's not doing the normal forehead butt crack. This one, he's like, this is his fake amazed. Oh my God. The Russians are, if we don't leave them alone, the Russians are going to bomb Poland.
Of the conflict, and accordingly, all the international law, we have a full right to attack those because they are manufacturing armament and they're declaring that these are factories belonging to Ukraine. Think of this. If we now, put analogy with Israel, did Israel will tolerate if there is a Hamas or Hezbollah would have a factory in Jordan, in Turkey?
By the way, the irony that this asshole is citing Israel as the moral equivalent to what they should have the right to do to Tucker, and Tucker is smiling about it. Can I just say, and like everyone involved in this whole thing is just like, they don't even know which side they're selling to, much less how full of shit they are.
This Katyusha rocket was hitting Israel. Heck no, they're going to immediately, attack them. That this is a difference. So sometimes on the way.
But okay, so the reason, by the way, I'm doing this so fast, because we don't like what he's saying. You can go watch the entire interview if you want. But here, I'll put it on the regular playback speed real quick. Okay. And then I want you to really pay attention to how long.
Thinking that restraint on our leadership is a weakness, but look on what's going in the world. We're really now very close to the all-out World War III in the most hottest stage, and when would be no breaks to stop it. And honestly, as you said, you've been too busy with Iran, and rightly so, because think of this, if this conflict in Iran will not stop and protract, what kind of the economical damage it's already caused, because we're talking about that even, yes, it's clear that the most visible is oil, which is not flowing through Hormuz Strait, but as important, this is a fertilizer which was cut out of the production there. And Iranians have been very big producers of some kind of fertilizer worldwide.
Literally, just Tucker just nodding.
So it's already affecting, including Americans' farmers. And now, according to the forecast of United Nations, there should be a shortage.
He's doing the forehead butt crack.
Of the food and eventually hunger, first of all in Africa. And
yeah, you're not going to win any friends with Tucker or his audience if you worry about people dying of starvation in Africa. I'm just saying it's not exactly one of their big bugaboos.
All kind of different chemical precursors necessary for the technological supply chain in China, which goes through all over the world. So this will affect entire humanity. Thanks God.
I don't know why Chinese rare earth minerals not going through the Strait of Hormuz. What are you talking about?
President Trump did maybe, very late, but it's still, a decision to extricate himself from this conflict. And it's
extricate himself. Well, sort of halfway,
It's good news for humanity. Otherwise, we still.
Well, 1 hour it's good news for humanity, and then in the next hour it's not.
Still on the balancing age where the one wrong move of Europeans.
Starting to understand why I sped this shit up?
In the, which is encouraging Ukrainians of attacking Russia. We can cause a reaction where we have, as again, Russia would have to respond with the all might.
Well, I mean, we've heard this. This is Simonyan and Solovyev horse shit from 2 years ago. And again, back to this. Hold on real quick. Let's go back to 175. I'm just going to bring it up to here because I just want you to see how.
Then it will cause eventually, unpredictable reaction. And we are very quickly can escalate to the nuclear exchange. And then, nobody knows what will left from humanity. And for me personally, what I'm watching, looks like we lost a generation of responsible politicians, especially in Europe. First of all, Europe, just as we.
I guess they're getting tired of looking at Tucker just nodding and staring.
Speak, on our rise. Happen to transiting from the basically dictatorship. And it's not only dictatorship in each country like happened before the World War II, but it's double dictatorship. Many of them are basically unpopular, but they still cling to the power by manipulating the winning the election, like we saw recently.
As the Romanian shit.
In Romania, this is the best example, but basically nobody was even considering opinion of the people. They just installed the government, which is a globalist or European leadership desire more. The same true for other countries. And then you have a Brussels bureaucracy or dictatorship who are basically make all this country, deprive them of their sovereignty. And this is with all the crisis economical situation, because Europe already committed economical suicide by cutting themselves off, reliable and relatively cheap Russian energy sources like a.
Can you go warp speed? Yeah.
Tube gas. Now they're forced to buy the, LNG from all over the world, and they have to compete for higher price. German industry are not anymore competitive, and we know that the first time for past 80 years, German automotive industry are basically on their.
Honest to God, we've I feel like we're doing the greatest hits from Russian bullshit from Phil and I talking over the last, 3 years especially. And I want to show you, right along there are these breaks where he does a commercial. And the only time Tucker talks is right up against where the break is going to be, almost where he only interjects a question just to sort of break the conversation so they can insert a commercial. Same gibberish. Watch.
Militarization and preparation for the bigger war and extension of the NATO, especially a recent one when the Finland, Switzerland become part of NATO, is really causing a concern. It's our national security concern. So Russia already reacted by forming a new military district near that border, and our border with Finland, it's about 1,500 miles. So we have to put our resources there, and Finland recently voted that they allowed to bring their territory nuclear weapons and store it there. Well, looks like, the European elites seriously considering a all-out, full-blown war with Russia, and they're thinking that they're gonna win in conventional war. Well, let me tell you, there is a bad news for them. Russia will not answer conventionally for their attempts to attack us. In our military doctrine, there is a postulate or formula where if we feel that any attacks against us are threatening our existence, we will answer with the nuclear weapons. And
right, there you go. So if anybody, I guess, attacks us with conventional weapons the way they did with Ukraine, if Ukraine had nukes, it would be okay for them to nuke Russia for that initial attack. Just for the record, because it's the Russian way.
Russia have second to the known nuclear and most modern arsenal in the world.
Horse shit.
We definitely, with the one missiles, can completely obliterate and destroy all life on the territory, like England or France. And that's definitely, we don't want to go this.
Also, no, you need multiple ones. They would be deadly and damaging, but the retaliation would be extraordinary. It'd be the end of Russia as well. It's just stupid.
Wait, but if they're considering that they can conquer us, split us onto the, what they want, 32 small parts, make them their resource, colonies, it ain't happening.
Having life insurance is one of those things that.
He didn't, in this one, he doesn't even get to the question. I think maybe he comes back with one, They put it right there. Hold on.
You're not the first person I've talked to who said this. I think everything you're saying is real. I think in the West, we imagine that President Putin is the most radical person in Russia. I think he's been a force for restraint, but that may not be possible for much longer. So I believe everything that you're saying.
He's talking to Victor fucking Boot, the god of war, one of the biggest arms dealers in the world. Just like an evil motherfucker. And I believe everything you're saying, which, by the way, is not even his words. They're just rando Russian talking points.
European leaders would want to have a war with Russia. What is the motive?
They don't.
Well, the way I see it, all these leaders, look on Macron, look on this, Merz or Steimer, who was just resigned today, basically, as we speak. These people is most unpopular in their countries.
Yes.
Think of the European bureaucracy in Brussels. So for them, the war is maybe the only way to cling to the power, to stay at power, to keep their influence. If they go to the war, they can declare, emergency, what do you call it? Declare the, war regime in countries and say, okay, we postpone the election.
Which is how Putin has stayed in
And
power.
then they grab power completely. Another one, we talk about that the globalists basically fully control Europe.
Basically.
Especially Soros. For last 30 years, he invested heavily into, grew up all these leaders since their early teens. They become students, they've been paid to study in the universities, then they become activists, then they become politicians, and finally they become...
It's weird how the people vote for these folks, though. It's interesting.
Leaders of their countries who have basically no...
I guess they don't have a say in it. We're all under Soros's spell.
Even feeling to their own, native countries. They don't care about their own future.
And then he's appealing to Tucker's nativist shit about immigrants and the blood right of the people on the land. Except Israel, I suppose.
They are all part of this suicidal satanic cult. And this is where we come. For me, this conflict with Ukraine is basically become a religious conflict. And this is where we feel like this is maybe a final battle with the evil forces. Because what these people are doing, how they treat...
Oh, so you're insane.
Even all population. Last week...
you do realize that oftentimes the people who believe that are the evil ones. That these are the ones who wake up realizing, oh shit, I was the evil person.
I was taking part in the press conference where we have a public tribunal. It's a not official tribunal, for the crimes of the Ukrainian Nazi regime. And every time the group of volunteers...
The Ukrainian Nazi regime run by a duly elected president who happens to be Jewish.
Goes to freshly liberated areas, towns and villages in Ukraine and questioning local population who stay there, who remain and waited for the Russians to come and liberate them. And their stories, it's horrific. How the Ukrainians coming to them, threatening them to say, oh, you stay there, you want to see the Russian army come and liberate you. You are traitors, we kill you.
So sorry, you're talking to people who, after you've liberated an area, and they're telling you stories about how the Ukrainians said, we'll kill you, and they're still alive?
They deprive them from the water. They just shoot anybody who move on the street just for fun.
So these people, what? The ones you interviewed were holding still the entire time?
Treat them really like occupational force. And many occasions, even more ferocious or more horrific than used to be during the Nazi or German army occupation during World War II. By the way, today we have
Again, blather all the way through this whole segment. And then Tucker, right before this break, I think he jumps in.
The front lines of this conflict, not only defending our future, our sovereignty, but maybe future of entire humanity, the way we know it, the way we want it to be in the future.
Well, I can understand why Barack Obama wanted to put you in prison. Now I understand perfectly well. Inflation.
Yeah, because he was the merchant of death. You fake Christian fuckwad.
96 is 1-800-685-5696 or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Tucker, America's home for home loans. Now, may I ask you to explain something that you said? You said at the beginning, this is fundamentally a religious conflict. Can you expand on that a little bit?
And a chunk of propaganda for that whole piece right here.
So-called parliament, their terms are also expiring. And
which is, by the way, he talks about the Russian Orthodox versus the Ukrainian Orthodox, and the Ukrainian Orthodox Church is basically pagan now, even though they have Christmas and Christ and all that stuff. Although I will say, Christmas, by and large, a pagan holiday. St. Nicholas based on a pagan character. Yeah.
Another question to ask: why the Zelensky don't want to have an election? Why all these people are talking much, but they disregard a desire of Ukrainian people? Accordingly, recent polls, which is done by the way by the Western Journal, by the Western organization, I think it was American and British, they found, and they double checked it several times, that the over 80% want the peace deal with Russia. This is the problem. So, what will be future? We don't know, but we really.
Yeah, until you get into the nitty gritty and go, do you want them to get the entire Donbass, even though they haven't taken it? And everybody's like, no, fuck that. I mean, we don't want war. 80% of them don't want war. 20% of them are like, Kill those motherfuckers. Invade Russia.
Don't worry, because look, Ukraine now.
All right. Anyway, so we go to this one, and then right before this ad, he does the same shit. One more question, and then there's these big chunks, and the guy is just yammering, and then one question, and then yammering. Is there one question in the middle of this? Yeah.
I think now for them, lying and being hypocritical become completely norm. And if you're honest and open-minded, it looks like, I would say almost like a deviation.
It's an amazing moment. It's very hard to understand what's happening. It does seem like drone technology means that no civilian population is safe.
Correct. And Ukrainians has a special tactics whenever they abandon certain,
Oh, wait. Okay. This I like. Hold on. Let me slow this down. Okay. This will save this. This will be a good conversation with Phil. So the Shahed drones, these cheap motor scooter, loud motherfuckers, these albatross kamikaze drones that they send in and hit civilian buildings with. Never mind that. Notice how he says they send in these drones to kill civilians. The big problem is Ukraine keeps sending in these drones and they're going to kill civilians, right? This is the bit. I'll slow this down a little bit, but we don't need it entirely slowed down. And then he starts complaining about the fact that the Russians on the ground, the soldiers, have to adapt really fast because the drone capabilities of Ukraine are changing so fast. They have to, the Russians defending it have to change their tactics all the time. And obviously he means Russian civilians who are running their own kind of tactical response.
Village or small town, they immediately terrorizing the civil population with the drones.
They're immediately terrorizing the civil population with the drones. You mean civilian, but okay.
Eating kids. They're not allowing all elderly women to go and get the water. They're not allowed to get them humanitarian aid. They really terrorize.
So I presume these drones fly around like, watch it, old lady, in Russian or Ukrainian or whatever. Don't move. If you try to get the water, we will blow you up, okay?
Any military sense, what you're doing. And since they've got a lot of the drones, would you believe?
Since they've got a lot of the drones.
That for each soldier, for instance, sometimes there is up to the 20, 30 drones.
Okay. For each soldier, there is 20 or 30 drones. And I think he means Russian soldiers.
Sent just to kill one soldier.
That are just sent to kill one soldier. The Ukrainians are sending 20 to 30 drones just to kill a single Russian soldier, which seems really inefficient.
How many Ukrainians and Russians have been killed in this conflict? Do you know what the real numbers are?
Well, no, I cannot tell you exact numbers, and eventually it's very difficult to estimate. But one thing is clear, that Ukraine suffered at least 3-1, if not 5-1.
Yeah, you'll estimate that, the ratio, even though you have no fucking idea what the number is. Even though you guys post your numbers, and here's what we do know. Every 8 weeks, the Russians are losing the same amount of people that America lost during the entire Vietnam War.
The Russian losses.
Whoops. He meant Ukrainian losses. Or 5-1.
Analyze how many cemeteries appeared in Ukraine, how quickly they are filled up. And this Ukrainian army not care about how many soldiers they're going to lose. They're just doing everything to...
we're projecting. Everything is just it's all projection.
Suits their, nice photo op or any, propaganda purposes of the Zelensky regime. When he wants to report that he's sending endless waves of the soldiers, basically they...
By the way, Zelensky never says anything even close to that. There's never been a thing like, we're sending endless waves. We're just going to send That's actually Russia's method. It has been. They're proud of it.
Survive, but they're still sending them.
I mean, this is literally him describing the Russian, meat wave tactic.
Whenever they surrendered and it's time to remove them, they never give this order to, hey, get out unless you would be encircled. They let their own soldiers literally perishing. They never remove much of the bodies. There is several reasons. First of all, we know that
if they don't remove several the bodies for several reasons, then how do you what all the cemeteries for?
Every fallen soldier's Ukrainian government has to pay.
Oh, this is the thing. If they die, Ukraine has to pay a death benefit to the people, and they don't want to pay it, so they pretend they're missing in action, which is exactly Russia's plan as well. Like, he's literally describing Russia's system to Tucker Carlson, and Tucker's, that's crazy.
Significant amount. So for them, accept anyone dead is a kind of the painful. So they basically has a practice when they are considering majority of the dead people like a missed in action. And when the Russians return their bodies, the family has to go through the painful process in Ukraine to prove that he is dead and the government owned the money. Then they're saying, okay, you're going to get this money within 10 years by the small installments. So even they are basically fooling their own people who believe them, who send their sons to fight. This is a horrible tragedy.
Also, you'll notice he's doing this kind of caffeine leg kick during the whole thing. It's either he's got to take a piss or he knows he's feeding these talking points, which are either in a teleprompter or just below the screen, because he's yammering these dipshit talking points off in succession. And again, there's nothing original in it. It's not like you need to talk to this guy to get the real source of stuff.
Demographically, Ukraine cannot be the same anymore because their population, especially male one.
All right, you get the point. So on and on and on, on and on and on, and I think at one point he finishes out by telling Tucker that Russia's the last Christian country on the planet, and that they're basically, this is a war against pagans by Christendom. And that some basic horseshit, and then they licks his balls, and then they're done. And that Russia's curing cancer and all this other stuff, and the West won't allow them to release their cancer cures and shit like that. Even though I would think, just do it, and people will figure out that it's Russian, right? Wouldn't you just do that? Why didn't you just have a big press conference and go, today we release the special no cancer jab you give yourself. You can, it's free. We give to the world because we are wonderful guys. And why don't you do that if you have it, right? What's stopping you? Oh, you don't have it and you don't want to have it. And you're spending all your time learning how to kill people and not heal people. This is just. So, I was watching that that earlier today and like speed running it, and it was brutal because I was stunned by how little Tucker was actually saying. Do I have time? Oh shit, I'm over time already. Can we do one more? All right, this will we'll do one more quick thing. One more quick thing if I can. And I've got, let's see, where's being here? Be in this one. Yeah, I think we've got it. Okay. Remember how we've been talking about my favorite conspiracy theory around Jeffrey Epstein is that he's still alive and that he paid the Russians $1 billion to basically hold half of it and use the other half to get him out of jail, which it would cost a lot less than that to actually get him out. Well, guess what? Timu Bosch, aka Joey Pags, is on the Epstein still alive beat now. Epstein's death story just fell apart. Why won't they release the Epstein something or other? I don't know what the title of this one is. Whatever. Okay. He's alive.
Day one, everything. Alessi, I don't think that anything should be hidden from us. Why should we?
Oh, and by the way, insofar as the getting caught up in the Epstein still alive theory.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Right. So, sometimes they're a little slow.
The dark. We were told 3 million pages, 10 million pages. The Southern District of New York has a.
Gee, it's almost like Jeffrey Epstein's wingman is the fucking president. And you voted for him.
A truckload of pages. They're on my desk, said Pam Bondi. Why don't we know everything about Epstein?
Gee, who's in charge of all of it right now? I can't imagine.
Well, definitely seems like there's some level of cover-up in that.
But who would have that level of power? Who could possibly fuck you?
Doesn't just mutually keep.
Yeah, CSL, I know. This one, keep
it that it's just the Trump cabinet by any means. I think it's
no, definitely not. It's definitely not them. Even though there are, what, 6 people who are in the Epstein files, including Trump, who are in the, in the administration right now.
been going on for a long time. The Biden administration had 4 years and they didn't discuss it once.
Yeah, they did. Ghislaine Maxwell went on trial and went to jail. And the civil suits for the victims started. And a bunch of that shit was, by the way, frozen because this is why we needed the Epstein Transparency Act to unfreeze these things, because the non-prosecution agreement, which had not yet been tested out of Florida, which Pam Bondi could have tore up herself, kept that stuff locked until you can get the right, until it goes through the process and you figure out you can prosecute these folks. You can't look at the evidence with the purpose of going after them if you don't have the right to go after them in the first place. So a lot of this stuff became effectively frozen in the system until the Epstein Transparency Act. Now, granted, in probably mid 2024, Biden or Harris might have been able to just sign that away if they decided to, but it was in the middle of the campaign year. I think they were going, they were a little Merrick Garland about it. They were tiptoeing a touch.
It makes you wonder, why wasn't that brought up? But then, of course, when it comes now Epstein under the Trump admin, they're very happy to go after him for that. So it really seems like it's a cover up at the highest level. And again, this is all
right. If it's a cover up at the highest level, who's at the highest level in the government? You absolute prick.
All pure spec, or I like to say speculation.
Right.
I don't have any evidence as to who might be behind it or what's behind it, but we do know is there's still 3 million files. It seems to be in the hands of...
Pause. No, wrong. There are not 3 million files left over of half of them. Or 3 million pages. What did he say? Hold on. Let me make sure I'm getting this clear.
I don't have any evidence as to who might be behind it or what's behind it, but we do know is there's still 3 million files. It seems to be in the hands of the Trump admin.
Yeah, it seems to be. And there's a law that says they have to release it.
Have the capability,
which they fought and threatened people over,
to release it. We've seen prominent Congress people like Marjorie Taylor Greene who have called out and said we should release it. And apparently there's been some conversations with her and Trump on her last...
Apparently there were some conversations.
Last days working as a congresswoman, and...
on her last days. Why was that? Why was it one of her last days? Because he helped drum her out of office, specifically because she wanted the Epstein files released?
Essentially put it in the phrase that, there's some friends of mine that can get hurt. Apparently that's what...
By the way, from the administration, currently in the administration, Mehmet Oz was invited to Epstein's 2016 Valentine's Day party. John Phelan, the Secretary of the Navy, was in a flight manifest on Epstein's jet on the Lolita Express. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. flew with him multiple times. Kevin Warsh, Trump's Federal Reserve nominee, was went to an Epstein party in St. Bart's in 2010, which was, for those keeping score, 2 years after he had been convicted of attempting to solicit sex from a minor, which it was even, everybody knew he negotiated down from, he pled down. Howard Lutnick, obviously, who lied about his relationship, went to the island and lived next door to him, bought his house from Jeffrey Epstein's group. Steve Bannon, who was helping rehabilitate his fucking image. And of course, Elon Musk, who was begging to go to the fucking island. And then, of course, Alex Acosta, who gave him the deal in the first place. But yeah, right now, see if I'm missing anybody. I'm starting to talk about the post-truth social trend. Okay. And Pam Bondi obviously could have thrown out the non-prosecution agreement, but did not. So I would consider her there. So, let's see. Roller announced this. Larry Summers. So there's Alex Acosta was his labor secretary. Lutnick. Who else? Here's looking administration. Okay. Donald Trump, Howard Lutnick, RFK Jr., Stephen Feinberg, direct tie, Mehmet Oz, John Phelan, Kevin Warsh, Tom Barack, Elon Musk, and Steve Bannon. These are all current people. Never mind, Alex Acosta, who cut that deal for him. Yeah, the deputy defense secretary where was his thing? He makes numerous appearances in the Epstein files because of Cerberus capital management. There were numerous business documents involving Cerberus that include Feinberg's name over a span of years between 2009 and 2018, including some involving Deutsche Bank, one of the banks Epstein was known to do business with. The documents contain an email exchange between officials at Deutsche Bank in which the bank's compliance staff appear to be conducting a review of Cerberus and Feinberg's accounts. So there was overlap with them financially. That was the part of it. They were doing business together on the down low with these bouncing around LLCs. And Deutsche Bank had a worry about that. RFK Jr., who I think ate a live goat on the plane or whatever. His wife knew Ghislaine Maxwell and they were friends. Howard Lutnick, John Phelan, the Navy Secretary, was in the 2006 flight line manifest for Epstein 727, which is coming to New York from London. Coming to New York from London. He was working at MSD Capital, a private investment firm, working with Michael Dell, who he was basically there as a representative of, possibly. And then Dell gets a big fucking deal to keep his mouth shut, and of course make a lot of money. Trump announced on social media that Kevin Warsh would be the Fed governor. He was in a 2010 email where a redacted sender forwarded Epstein a list of people labeled St. Bart's Christmas 2010, and Warsh is listed on the footnote house near Isle de France. That was where he was going. Tom Barack, the U.S. ambassador to Turkey under Trump. Elon Musk was begging to go to the island. Steve Bannon helped, rehab his image. There you go. So, and they're all in there now. Like, I mean, think of all the shit they said about Hunter Biden.
Allegedly spoken. So,
right.
I don't know what that means, but optically speaking,
that's adorable.
It doesn't necessarily look good for the Trump admin. People my age are right now very confused because he ran on it and he didn't need to. That's the thing. He didn't need to run on this, but
yeah, he kind of did. He needed to run from it, and the way he runs from things is loudly.
He made it a big policy where people ask him, he's like, yeah, I'm going to.
Because he couldn't, because if he seemed to ignore it, people would hang it around his neck.
Try to release it. And then day one, they had that whole thing where they gathered all the conservative influencers. Yeah. They went out, carried the piece of paper being like, we got the files.
Yeah.
And it turns out it was everything we kind of already knew.
Yeah. And there was nothing new in there. Well, let me piggyback on this. Nancy.
Yeah, it could be Occam's razor here, or Occam's rubber mallet, I guess, would do for these assholes. That it's nothing new because all the new stuff is all the stuff about Trump they've kept hidden.
So wanted them released, and she said she was going to name names. But let's speculate together about the Biden administration not releasing anything. And the reason why I want to go there is they indicted Trump 91 times between the time he was the president and the time he became the president again. 91 times. They did everything, in my opinion, to stop this guy from running and winning again, and they failed.
No. I think they slow walked it. I think they were trying to just go by the numbers and go after his fraud because that wouldn't look like a broad character attack, and maggots would not believe the victims if they went after Trump again and the like. That was primarily my belief on this.
In those 4 years, even if Biden was afraid that his name would show up or some friend's name, they could have redacted all of that and released everything.
You mean like Trump is doing?
That would have implicated Donald Trump. So I make the assumption that Trump himself is not implicated criminally in anything that's in the Epstein files.
Well, that's already not true. There are already 302s that show people, saying Trump sexually assaulted them, the youngest being a 13-year-old girl.
Then
hire Dershowitz as your attorney? Gee,
aren't we getting all of it? Can it be as simple as my friends might get hurt?
Yeah, and why would that be okay?
And why didn't Biden release anything? If they had the goods on Trump, wouldn't they have released it?
Because it was sealed until January of 2024, and and the civil suits were ongoing
to stop him from becoming president again?
You would think so. Again, it's such a complicated issue at this point where, again, I tend to believe that it's not just a one-party thing. I think it seems to be two types, both parties involved, people.
Yeah, it's weird how our party, though, is totally willing to jettison anybody that was involved in it, and you guys are the ones circling the fucking wagons.
That have been obviously shown in it. You have recently, I think the greatest example of this being more than just a two-party system, but one party uniting on this topic is you have the Bill Clinton depositions that took place. And the reason I bring those up is
because Trump hasn't done a deposition and won't do it, and none of his people will speak under oath.
He went out of his way, a guy who is a fierce rival, and his wife, Hillary Clinton, fierce rival of Trump in the 2015 election. He went out of his way to say, I just want to say also that Trump's not implicated. Now,
how would he know? And again, I don't know that he said Trump's not implicated. I also don't know that post, say, Trump's relationship with him in 2000, 2002, why would no longer President Bill Clinton have any information about what Trump continued to do, or if he knew about it at the time, or if in his own pleading of ignorance when he was hanging around or knew Jeffrey Epstein, that he had to basically say there was nothing shady going on that I saw. So if I saw Trump, he couldn't have been involved in anything shady, because if he's up to something shady and I saw it, I was there while something shady happened. He would be implicating himself.
I don't know what that means, but this is a fierce rival. This is a guy in 2015, right before the Missouri or the presidential debate between Hillary and Trump, goes on stage and accuses Bill Clinton of sexually assaulting and, doing the horrific things to women. And earlier that day held a press conference with all the accused women that Bill Clinton allegedly touched, raped, all those things. And this is, of course, during the time of the Hollywood Access tape. So you think of the timing of that, where it's like, Joe, I would say, if you ever accused me of some horrific crime like that, I don't think I would be your friend. I think if you're...
Yeah, he's not being his friend in that situation. He's not talking about how fun it was to hang out with him. He wasn't there for any of he didn't see Trump doing anything illegal, because if he had, he would have been participating in something illegal. If you stand by while a robbery is committed and go, yeah, I saw him committing a crime, and you didn't report it or didn't do anything about it, you're a participant in the fucking crime.
Those shots and calling that against me, I would be furious and angry. But then you have this guy almost a decade later on the Epstein deposition going out of his way, not even being questioned about this from the congressional people that were there in the House committee, and saying, I also want to put out that Trump had nothing to do with this or whatever.
Yeah, I don't remember that being a direct quote. Does anybody have that quote someplace? Epstein, Trump didn't have anything to do with this or whatever.
Optically
That's crazy.
Horse shit.
When you look at the timeline, I can't help but say there's something there.
Okay, if there was something there, the best thing you can hope for is that Bill Clinton saw Trump engaging in some gnarly shit, because he was also engaged in some gnarly shit, and couldn't point out that Trump was doing it, because he would be pointing the finger at himself as well.
That needs to be pulled on. I don't know why he would go out of his way to do that, because, again, like I said, if I ever accused you of something like that, I doubt even 10 years later you would go out of your way to almost defend me in some capacity in regards to something. This would be the nail in the coffin. If you wanted to end Trump right there, nail in the coffin, but he doesn't. So I tend to think, and that, again, I'm not saying Trump at all is the things that are being said about him. There's no actual evidence saying he's done anything. And as you mentioned, but optically speaking, you wonder in terms of the two parties, why there hasn't been something done in the last 8 years, at least, especially since 2019 when Epstein allegedly died.
Hold on. Here's the actual quote, chat room. Clinton responded when he was asked about Donald Trump's connection to the Epstein case. He said, Trump never said anything to me to make me think he was involved in anything improper with regard to Epstein either. and that he recalled a conversation where Trump mentioned that he had a falling out over a real estate dispute, though Trump also reportedly noted he had some great times together over the years. He didn't say he wasn't implicated. He said Trump never said anything to me to make me think that he was involved in any of this stuff. And he also told me that their falling out wasn't about spa or not spa or girls being pulled from the spa, that they broke up over a real estate deal, but that he was super fun to hang out with.
It's Alessi Ulliman. Go and follow him over on YouTube.
So why? So you can watch him lie to himself?
See Ulliman, all one word, over on YouTube. Great storyteller, incredible YouTube creator. I'm glad to have you on today. Let me ask you something that you mentioned in passing. Why are people 18 to 35 so interested in this story?
Because they would have been the victims. Okay, where's the part about who was he? Trump hold on. Trump, Mar-a-Lago, and Epstein. Was Epstein's death real? Okay, so let's look at these two pieces. This will be good. All right.
Authorities would say, you got to do something about this Epstein guy. Do you think that he screwed it up somehow? Because, again, I don't know why he's not just signing, let's release everything. I'm with you. I couldn't.
Oh, this is the idea that Trump called the police on him when he dry snitched on him over the real estate deal, by the way, and then called Epstein and said, hey, the police are on to you.
Agree with you more. And I do think that there might be some protection of friends going on. But in the day, he didn't mind telling the authorities, this guy's a bad dude, and you've got to do something about him. And
he just avoided being deposed.
He kicked him out of his club. What have you found out in research?
And he didn't kick him out of his club.
Researching that part of it.
Yeah, tell us all about the real story, because if he read the statement from Clinton, what was Clinton's statement about why they broke up? It was over a real estate deal.
That part of it, it seems, again, very credible in the sense that he tried to kick out that girl or kick out Epstein because of what he was doing there.
Bullshit.
And again, I guess
nope. Even Trump doesn't say that.
I guess the trail kind of goes cold there in terms of the relation.
Yeah, if you stop looking
with Trump, so we don't really have any specifics from that point onwards, right. In terms of the relation, if it was there or not. So I've seen interviews.
He was like he was never a member of Mar-a-Lago. He was just allowed to come there all he wanted, and that was true up to 2017 at least.
Of Mark Epstein, which is Jeffrey Epstein's brother, his only last living relative. And he's made claims that in confidence, him and Epstein, who were estranged and became close, very suspect character. Nonetheless, he made comments being like, if you knew what I knew on both these candidates, referring to Clinton and Trump during that 2015 election cycle, we wouldn't have an election. So I don't even know if that's necessarily anything.
Well, I'll tell you, think what you will about Bill, but Hillary was nowhere near this shit.
It could be just a nothing burger. But it seems to check out in terms of what he did there back in 2004. I think it's, who was it? I think it was the late Senator John McCain's wife or somebody said, they were like, we knew about this Epstein.
The level of detail we're getting is amazing.
Yeah, everyone knew his reputation. So It wasn't like this is some bombshell thing in 2008 with that sweetheart deal. Before then, everyone knew like there was this guy, he had an island, he's bringing all these young girls around.
Yeah, and especially Donald Trump.
People want to go.
The guy who wrote who was interviewed for an article and said he was a lot of fun to be with and he likes the girls on the younger side.
Go to the island because it's a good time or whatever they think. So there was a reputation about this guy.
It's what's amazing about the entire thing is, I'm with you. I don't know if he's dead or alive. I mean, there's a legitimate question as to whether this guy really died.
Okay. And Donald Trump was president. If this dude escaped from jail, a guy that the president said was a lot of fun to be with, broke out of a federal prison and escaped ever going to trial. How? Lay this on Biden or Clinton, or I almost said Biden because of it, on Biden or Clinton.
He didn't appear to have been a guy that we've seen on these videos of his testimony and depositions that would never ever harm himself. He's really very full of himself. I don't think this is a guy that would just say, I'm not going to stay in the metro, New York, whatever the holding place was, much longer. Let me put this sheet around my neck. It doesn't make any sense. And you're right. The camera's all going out, and what guards fell asleep, and there was a change in shift, and bop. What do you think really happened?
Yeah, while Donald Trump was president and oversaw the entire thing.
And are you convinced that he's dead? I'm guessing not, because you said allegedly killed himself a few times. Is he still with us?
So if you asked me this 4 months ago, I would have said he's probably dead. And then Julian Dory went with former CIA operator Andrew Bustamante.
Oh, God. Yeah, we watched this.
And they recreated the entire cell.
Yeah, and Andrew Bustamante, I guess, missed the part that Julian pointed out, that there's this, basically a giant vent that if you had a dime, you could take the screws out of and go into another holding room.
And they actually brought in Epstein's old cellmate. They brought in a forensic expert, and they staged it to a T, what it looked like, to the most minor details from what they have in the photographs. And if you watch that Discovery episode with Julian and Andrew Bustamante going through it, it's very clear it is entirely possible they got him out of there. And that
And Trump missed it. Trump was president of the United States when it happened. He was running everything. And the guy he said was a lot of fun to be with, who liked him on the younger side, manages to avoid trial and escape from prison. Thanks, Joe Biden.
Body double or something. I don't know if that's actually what happened, but I'm 95% convinced that he's still alive.
And by the way, there's a minute missing in the video that was released by.
It is more than a minute. There's like 3 minutes or 12 minutes, depending on who you listen to.
The FBI under Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, and nobody ever said what happened in the minute. We're like, well, why is there a minute missing?
Yeah, it's almost like it's just enough time for the edge of someone's shoulder to not be seen coming down the steps from the only camera that was working. That was.
They're like, this is the whole tape. Don't worry about it. So there is something hinky going on there.
Yes, and these are all obviously Obama appointees. So,
but if you, again, gun to your head, the guy was an influence peddler. He was a blackmailer.
He was best friends with Donald Trump for 26 fucking years.
He was a guy that had a lot of goods on a lot of people.
And one of those people was apparently Donald Trump.
Maybe Mossad, maybe CIA, maybe neither. Who knows? Do you think we're ever going to find out? Is the truth going to eventually come out?
Why would it? Well, I mean, I guess after Trump is out and anybody who wants to live off of his carcass is no longer in office, I think then it's very possible that a lot of this stuff would come out. Even if it's just what a great way to scatter maggots to the four winds.
I think there's a select few people out there who probably know that information. In terms of release the rest of the files, I think that's kind of spitting in the wind. I think all those are deleted. All the hard drives, I would imagine, are.
Yeah, because they were gathered while Trump was president last time and sorted through with the help of Pam Bondi and 100 or 1,000 FBI agents who were tasked with blacking out Trump's name wherever it showed up.
Scraped. So I don't actually believe we're going to get any more of that information. But there are people who are alive, who knew him, who are around him.
Yes, one of them is in the Oval Office or in a hospital bed right now.
We got Ghislaine Maxwell in prison.
Yeah, who gave her a sweet deal?
Allegedly, who's still, she's around. She should be investigated. That should be released to the public. We should know what's going on there. We have Steve Bannon, a guy who was with him the last 3 years up until he died, interviewing him with over 16 to 18 hours of interview footage with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, and that guy went to work in the Trump administration.
Making a documentary to rehab his image. I would love to know, what does he know? I think that guy has a direct line. He had a direct line to him. He was planning, from the files I read, that summer.
By the way, you guys get the general gist of this dipshittery, but I think it's kind of magnificent that Joey Pags and these other dunderheads are finally kind of waking up to the fact that all of this hinky shit has happened while Trump was in office. And the only thing that they can really point to about the Biden administration or even Obama is that they didn't weaponize the DOJ about this shit, that they just went after Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and to some degree, I guess, the co-conspirators they could while trying to get that case through the courts so they could throw out that non-prosecution agreement, which again is one of the reasons why there was a hold on all the details, on all the files themselves. And Donald Trump, who ran on releasing these things, well, kind of, I mean, maybe, you know, if you didn't watch the unedited version. Thank you, CSL. And thank you, Andrea, by the way. You guys are both wonderful, and I wish I could hug you both right now. If you could hold anything against the Biden administration and Obama or anybody previous, was that they were allowing the DOJ or the state attorneys general to do their jobs around this stuff and left it untouched. And in some cases, ended up moving it forward just in the release of what they could do, but didn't want to overreach, which is a bit of a shame considering we know how a lot of this was a policy decision and not the legal letter or the law. They actually had a lot more wiggle room than they thought they did. Certainly, if you look at how Trump is acting. But ultimately, if you jump ahead and you release this stuff and then it turns out it was illegal, it's fruit of the poison tree, and the people that you're going after will end up getting, they'll never go to jail. They'll end up dodging this because the evidence was released to the public in an illegal way, therefore tainting the jury pool, and there's no way they could get a proper trial, that kind of stuff, right? So you have to be careful with that shit if you actually want to catch these fuckers. That's the only thing you can say about the Biden administration, because Biden never flew on that fucking plane. Jill was never worried that Biden was on it. Obama was never on the fucking thing. Hunter, of all people, would be the one, I think, in both administrations you think might have ended up on there. And you know who did? Who actually was an addict and a philanderer and was, scrounging up road ass left and right, both to, eat and hump, was RFK Jr., who flew on Epstein's plane multiple times. And his defense, when they cornered him about it, was like, yeah, but I was friends with Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby, and, I knew all these guys. And you're like, dude, you're not helping your case. So anyways, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I know I went late, but, I missed you. That's all I can say. And I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon. Got a lot on my plate tomorrow morning. I'll eventually we'll get to all the stuff that's on deck that I'm having to deal with, besides even the current unpleasantness that we're dealing with. The stuff, the life stuff that I'm juggling currently is it's next level. It really is. And I at some point you're going to go, you know what? Congratulations, you held it together really well. I'm like, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, I will see you guys later. Hit the like, share the show, take care of yourselves, and take care of somebody else, okay? That's all I ask. Okay. All right. Oh, and you're awesome. Just stay that way.
Still one with the ghost of us. Name in my mouth cuts too much. Half a thought and it folds in two, like a bruise leaves a mark on you. Don't hurt in my shaking hand. Know something I don't understand. Like ghosting at the edge of me. Something there that I just can't see. You hear that too? Or is it just me? It's the same sad song, empty space that was here all along. Every step is a borrowed shape. Every second a vain escape. Laughter crying out for sin. Summer stealing the autumn wind. There's a face that I almost know through a window where I won't go. If you're there, don't let me see. Downside out, downside out. I need to go where I don't belong. Downside out, downside out. I need to go where it feels so wrong. I held it still so it wouldn't ruin. Now it moves in the things I do, in my hands, in the way I speak, in the cracks when I try to sleep. And you sit like you always did, never answer, just nod your head. If I reach, do you disappear? Get fine, you are never here. Don't touch the door. Don't touch the door. If it opens, there's so much downside out, downside out. I need to go where I don't belong. Downside out, downside out. I need to go where it feels so Stay a while, don't make a sound. I get lost when you're not around, and I don't know which one is